You mean it looks a little out of focus?
Yeah, let me see how I look on YouTube. Yeah, it is still out of focus on YouTube. I don't know, something is off. I don't know, it don't matter. But our brother Ali had a conversation earlier with the brother Turtle Gang. Is out of New York City. I know that's not his name. That's his brand, I believe. This is a brother that we've been familiar with for some years. Had conversations with the brother in the past. He came on BTP a couple months ago when we were addressing the problematic comments that he and brother Sharif Bay were making about reparations. And brother Ali, he was on Instagram earlier and he heard the brother saying something. So I'm gonna let Ali explain that part, and hopefully the brother will jump on.
Well, okay, so he wasn't saying something out of his mouth, right? What he did was he shared a video of some people from Fox News kind of ridiculing, not kind of, they were ridiculing um, the reparations task force hearings in California, right? And you know, sad part about it is a lot of the people in the hearing sessions who went up to speak on the mics gave them a lot of material to work with. They gave them enough material to work with to actually ridicule these people and to make the whole thing look crazy, right? We mentioned it the other night. The one of them was a couple of them were those Moorish guys. You have some people coming in there with this line of pretending nonsense as if that matters some kind of way. You know what I mean? And you know what these news agencies do is they're taking the sound bites of the ridiculous things that folks are saying, and they're making reels out of that and circulating that stuff. So that's exactly what happened. And so the brother Turtle Gang posted the video from Fox News, right? And understand something. They're all Confederates, right? But Fox News is one of those Confederate stations. We already know who those people are in relationship to our plight in this country and who they've been for the past several years that they've been on as a network. Those people don't have our best interests in mind, and they damn sure don't tell our stories the way that they deserve to be told. None of them do, but definitely Fox News doesn't. So it's a Fox News piece that he posted, and he left a comment. Now, initially, I didn't even watch the video. Right, all I seen was Fox News, and I'm like, okay, yeah, because it's about Joe Biden. It starts with Joe Biden wanting to give 55 or commit $55 billion to these African nations, and so he made a comment on his post and a few other people. But one of the things that he has said, and this is what I was responding to, and I told him this earlier. He said something about niggas will do anything, right? And I'm gonna pull the comment up so I can read it. You know what I mean, and not take it out of context. Or when he comes on, he can read it himself or say exactly what he said. And so I was like, he said niggas will do anything for to get some of that reparations money, right? And I was saying, bro, like, because I took offense to that, right? It's a generalized term, right? He didn't say the Moorish niggas or them fucking pretendians out there will say and do anything to try to grift off of the valid reparations movement of the people, particularly these American freedmen who those families are actually owed for what their families had to endure for generations. So he just made the general statement about niggas will do anything to try to get money from the government, basically, right? I'm paraphrasing, but in essence, that's what it was being said. So I said, yo, bro, that's offensive, right? I was like, that's offensive because we're not just doing anything. We're doing some very specific work with regard to the justice that's owed to our people for the last for the last 150 years or so, right? So that's what I told him in essence. So we had a conversation about it on Instagram, his Instagram live, and he wound up getting cut off. So I asked him if he would come here so we can actually flesh the thing out a little bit better.
Yeah. Hopefully the brother will come through because there's some things that I would like to build on.
Hold
And
on, I'm gonna see if I could find it on
all right,
Instagram, and then maybe I could share it. I'm gonna sign in through the computer with my other profile, and then try to share from there because I'm on the cell phone. Hold on.
that's right, Ibrahim. This ain't no PPP scam. Like this is what's owed to our people. And I'm gonna pull up some of the reparations that have already been paid by this, and it's only a problem when it's for us. Joe Biden just approved another $1.8 billion to Ukraine. Nobody said nothing about that. We have been belittled so much in this country. We've been belittled so much in this country that everybody seeks to belittle us. That's why y'all hear me going in. I don't like nobody talk about our men, our freedmen, men, so-called black men. I don't like that. Straight up. Because now I know where it comes from. Now I know where it comes from. You know, what's going on, Sister BB, Brother Shannon Freeman Media is in the building. What's going on, D? What's going on, Vanna? And certain things irk me. There's certain things that actually irk me. And coming at us is one of those things. And white supremacy has made it so that anybody can come at us. It's all about talking down to us. Remember when Umar, you know, we know Umar to be a clown, right? Dr. Umar Johnson, he's a clown. When he was on the Breakfast Club a couple weeks ago, and Charlemagne was rightfully correcting him. And Charlemagne said, well, then who do we blame for HBCUs being underfunded? And this clown, Umar, said, we blame black men. We blame black men. Black men do not run this government. Black men do not control the purse strings in Congress. Black men's wealth positionality in this country is one of the lowest due to all of the discriminatory practices that have been done to us over the past several generations. Over the past several generations.
Yeah, I can't get the video to come up. Man, I wish I could let you see the video from Fox that he posted. It might be in his stories or something. I don't know. I can't really pull it up from the computer. Yeah, man, because that would be really good to be able to share that so we could see what was being said in the video.
No, definitely.
But basically, I mean, if you know anything about Fox, you know that what they're doing is they're gonna ridicule whatever it is that we're doing. So
and I seen the Fox piece the other day. I think I seen it when it first dropped. And it's what Fox does. That's why we went on last night to address some people from Fox, the Gutfeld people. And I'm trying to get a debate set up with Hotep Jesus. And I'm trying to get a debate set up with a liberal brother as well. I ain't going to name his name yet, but this could be an interesting weekend. This should be an interesting weekend. So, y'all know how we do. But man, I was hoping the brother.
He said he's getting ready to come in. He just texted me. Said,
okay, perfect.
He's getting ready to
because I want to hear his logic. And
it would be so dope if he could play the video, but I don't know if he can or not, based on, or if he could tell us where the original video came from. We could pull it up and just listen to it.
Was it a Fox video?
Yeah, it's not the one that you played before. It's another thing. It's another joint.
Yeah, I think they're gonna strike the channel though.
Oh, okay. All right, never mind.
I woke up to that copyright strike early this morning.
Yeah. Nah, never mind. Right. Don't worry about that.
All right, so we got the brother Turtle Gang.
Turtle Gang is in the building.
First and foremost, peace, bro.
Peace. King.
I think you. Oh, you okay? You good?
Peace.
Indeed,
what's good, my brother?
Chilling. Okay, so yeah, okay. It's the God. Okay, bro.
Oh yeah.
I ain't realized it was your platform. Okay.
Oh yeah, man. This be the power right here.
Okay, so I know who I'm talking to now. You know what I mean? Good.
That's right.
I'm glad. So yeah.
All right. So I think Ali, it'll be better if you lead into this discussion.
Yeah. So all right. I was kind of breaking down what kind of triggered the conversation earlier, and I was letting them know that it wasn't actually the video because I didn't watch the video. As soon as I seen Fox's logo on it, I was like, I don't need to watch it because I already know how Fox gets down with regard to us, anything dealing with us. We already know what the slant is going to be coming from them. So I didn't even watch it, but it was the comment that you made, and we talked about it earlier. I said I was responding to the comment that you made when you said that niggas would do anything for money. I'm just paraphrasing. You can contextualize it how you want, but it's like niggas would do anything to get this money from the government, and I'm like, I took offense to that because I'm like, the true reparationists are not just doing anything, and they're definitely not doing anything for no good reason. They're doing a lot of things that are very pertinent to the particular plight that our families were forced to endure for several generations. And so I just was like, man, I wish people would just stop talking about what we're doing with that kind of negative energy. Now, it was like I was just telling Naheem, it would have been different if he said them fucking Moors out there, them fez head niggas, them niggas will do or say any old kind of crackpot shit. Or them pretending niggas out there with that fake Indian babble, they'll say anything to try to grift off of what these people are doing, which is a legitimate thing, right? But it wasn't put that way. So that's why I was like, damn, man, it's always these generalizations about what we're doing. And I just, it's just, to me was offensive. But you could break it down.
No, and bro, and because like I said, my thing is I'm not gonna take anybody's space, bro. Like I don't think we should take space for anybody to operate, and you know what I mean. So I apologize if that offended you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to curb your lane, take your lane from you, throw shade on your lane. So I'm gonna tell you exactly what I saw when I saw that video. When I first saw that video, right? I'm like, yo, what the fuck? This can't be real, right? So I'm a creative thinker. I'm creative, bro. So I represented it in a manner where anybody watching it is not going to take it serious. That's why I put the cartoon and animation, right? To say, okay, yeah, this is out here, but is this even a real conversation, right? Then I was truthfully, when I seen it, I'm like, oh, hold up. So they're giving money to Africa first before the actual people? I was a little offended by that. You know what I'm saying? So
we are too, believe it.
The way my mind works, bro, I'm very satirical. You know what I'm saying? It's never what you think it is, straight up. It's never the low-hanging fruit. Not with my mind. See what I'm saying? So when I'm saying niggas will do anything, bro, I would never refer to y'all as niggas doing anything. See what I'm saying?
I appreciate that.
I'm talking about is the niggas that was there.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
The niggas I'm talking about is the niggas that ain't got boots on the ground. As soon as I find out who I'm talking to, and I know y'all, I'm not referring to y'all as niggas that'll do anything for anything. Nah, I don't see y'all as that. But when I'm having that conversation, when I'm saying this, bro, if you ever hear me say niggas will do anything for change in this reparation, I ain't talking about y'all. I ain't talking about the ones putting in work. I'm talking about the ones that get up there and misrepresent what y'all doing. Word is bond on everything. I stand on that. See what I'm saying? And then it makes it look like I don't support what y'all doing. I don't support what them niggas is doing, stepping on y'all shit.
Absolutely. Right? I agree with you 100%.
Now that I can have the conversation with the real people who are doing the real work, it's a different me, because that shit you see is me sitting on these fraud niggas, not y'all. I know the difference, like with Moors. I know a dirty Moor from a real Moor. You know what I mean? And when I say that, I'm just saying the ones that stay within the truth, what they stand on, and don't mix, cut the dough. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but yo, bro, we are who we are. We say things reckless, but intellectually, I know when you talking. When a nigga say pretend to Indian, I know a nigga ain't talking about me. It don't even enter my mind, and they could put my name in the sentence. Right. I know they're not talking about me. See what I'm saying?
Well, I seen pictures of your family, so I know I can look at your family and see what it is. They're Lenape, right? I can see it. Like that's the thing. A lot of these people are jokers, right? And we keep trying to tell them that, but you and your other partner, I forget his name. What's your yeah. He be on your platform with you.
Yeah.
But y'all are different because y'all show and prove what your family really is. These other dudes are just they pulling up pictures of Olmecs and pictures of the Bonham Park murals and stuff
Yeah,
like that. And because it's
misrepresenting
dark
everything.
skinned people, yeah, exactly. So
Mhm.
that's what it is, man. And you know that's why we're calling them pretenders. They don't. And then when it come down to it, come to find out the ancestors was really just slaves of the fucking Choctaw or something like that.
Mhm.
You know
Now,
what I mean?
I ask difficult questions because, like, brothers like you, I ask you a difficult question, y'all can answer it. It's not difficult, right? But these other people, I ask them these questions and it causes problems. See what I'm saying? Like, bro, like
Like
none of them,
Dane Calloway.
yeah, none of
I
them
know.
people like me, bro. You know that,
I
right?
know.
You know none of them abos like me, bro. You understand that, right? I'm more aligned with y'all than you know what I'm saying?
I
Hey,
know
let
you
me.
was having issues with Dane Calloway. I know he was on some bullshit with you.
Yeah, he not an issue. He, and it's not to disrespect women, but he feminine energy dealing with real people energy. And he bro, he could never stand before me and my people, bro. It's not even close. It's like
Right.
Let
it's
me
a
ask
joke.
you a question about this other brother named Legendary Chief Top Cats. You ever heard of him?
Yeah, and I speak on Chief Top Cats. I speak on him.
So what's the relationship like? Has he been able to show and prove what he? Because we've looked up all of his claims and found him to be an absolute 100% fraud.
Well, now I'm familiar with what y'all did when y'all called up those other people who carry the same name as his people. Like, I'm gonna tell you where your error is. That's like calling another Williams family to validate if a Williams is a Williams. See what I'm saying? That's not how traditional culture, that's not how the setup was. See what I'm saying? So they never would have said, yeah, we know them people. See what I'm saying? Like, but that's neither here nor there. I'm gonna tell you what I know about Top Cat. From what I see and understand about him, he is accurate about his lineage. He know what he talking about his lineage. Do I agree with how he perceives or presents history? No, not with anybody. But in terms of him saying who he is, I believe him to be authentically, absolutely a descendant of those actual people. I believe that. Now,
Okay,
how he
so
sees other things,
The Kawasaki or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
okay,
I
so
I truly,
I spoke with
yeah,
one of the representatives, right?
yeah. But
So
those wouldn't be
you
his
said that's
people.
like calling the person that I spoke to broke
Let me explain it to you.
the whole history. No, I want you to, but he
Okay.
broke the whole history down to me and broke down how there was intermarriage, right?
Yeah.
So when you're running around saying that you are a chief or that your great grandmother was a chief, then regardless if this is like a different sect of the Williams family, they should still be able to say, yes, we are familiar with the grandmother by the name of whatever who is also a chief.
Not at all. That's not, see, that's you saying that because you don't know how tribal custom and like you don't understand, like, because people say I'm Cherokee, right? That's just a general name. It's thousands of Cherokees and they're not all related. So you can't go to one Cherokee. And I'm gonna give you an example because I'm gonna pull from my shit, right? Everybody knows Lenape. You know the Lenape, right? All right. You know that they're also called the Delaware, right?
That's right. Delaware
Right?
Moors.
Alleged
No,
Moors.
Not the Moors, not the Delaware Moors.
I
Right.
said alleged Moors.
No. I'm gonna show you how you're conflating it. There's a group of Lenape.
That's right.
Most notably Chief Tammany. You heard of Chief Tammany, right? Chief Tammany.
I have it.
All right, so that's the group that's in Philadelphia.
Right.
Right. Those people are Unami people. They're Lenape, but they're Unami. They speak a different dialogue than my branch. They have a separate history, separate treaties, separate agreements. In the French and Indian War, they sided with the French. During the French and Indian War, we sided with the British. During the Revolution, they sided with the colonists. During the Revolutionary War, we sided with the British. right? We're both Lenape. They signed a deal with the United States government, Treaty of Fort Pitt, right? The Continental Army defeated the British Army, who we were allied with because we had treaties with Britain to do trade. So when the Continental Army defeated Britain, it was also the Wunamis defeating the Muncies. I'm a Muncie. They Wunami. So in history books, the Muncies get written out of history and we're called Negroes. The Wunamis get a reservation and they're called the Delaware now. So when you hear the story of the Delaware, they're telling their story. They're not speaking for the Muncies, because if they told the truth, you'd know that they betrayed us for a little piece of land out in Oklahoma. So when you anytime you call up a federally recognized tribe, you're calling up a subsidiary of the federal government. Why would you go to them for truth?
Okay, definitely. So I wanted you to get that out because I was contacted by somebody that knows this guy personally. And they sent me all his information and basically showed that this guy was a fraud, that he was not of any of these tribes. He's one of us. So I don't know, some people may believe his history, and I got that stuff. I just never I'm not the type.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Hold on, bro. I don't want to get into people's Fed cases and all of these type of things, but I got the messages and I got the pictures, I got the images, et cetera, et cetera. So I know for a fact that dude is not no Kushada, no Alabama Kushada, no none of that, because that's what he says that he is. I know that for a fact. So
I don't like me, and I think that if we all practice this, I can't speak on another man's family, even if another person send me documents.
He speaks on my family.
I know, so that's wrong. He's wrong.
I can technically speak on him, his family, the fake tribe he made up or claimed to be a part of, et cetera, et cetera.
But we trying to bring in a new era, right? A new, the great law of peace, bro. The gods say peace to each other because we come in peace, right? And what's the mainstay of the 5%? It's the lessons, right? It ain't no one individual, it's the lessons that unite us, right? So we can go anywhere with those lessons, and if our shit is right and exact, we can stand in any hood with the gods. That's how it's set up, right?
Yeah. When you look at go ahead.
That's what the great law of peace is. It's the same thing. It's the mathematics. It ain't one individual. So what I'm saying is we all got to get back to the mathematics that allow us to understand these things. And even when a man, he wronged you by talking about your family, but guess what? The mathematics say, regardless if he wrong, you don't got to descend into that shit.
All right. So being that I was born into
I know you know.
I definitely know what you're talking about. But there was a statement that Father Allah made that said, I'm not anti-white or pro-black.
Yeah.
And people were confused about that statement. I shared an article earlier on that from Moguldom. They did an excellent job, covering that piece as well. Shout out to Moguldom. Yeah, I love the work y'all put in.
Shout out to Moguldom, yeah.
But my pops explained that to me some years back. And what Father Allah was saying is, if a man is good, regardless of his skin tone, it does not necessarily make him a devil. Even if he is a white man, if he's doing good and he lives his life righteously, then he's good. Point blank, period.
Absolutely.
And he can be viewed as a God. He can be viewed as God. And if a black man who is God spends most of his life and his time doing devilishment, then you view him in the same standard that you would view a person that you would call a devil. So I call him the devil. I'm talking about Top Black. I'm talking about all of those people that make these claims. So I was born and raised in this, so I could speak to it, just a little bit clearer in that regard. And in the lessons, it speaks about going to visit the holy city of Mecca and how the Muslims will receive a pin on their lapel for taking 4 devils' heads. So I'm just saying, the lessons speak about taking heads off devils, and we follow.
That's what we
if
do.
we're following the teachings and the logic of Father Allah, then you got to call a devil a devil. It don't matter if you come in peace, because you can come in peace. But what happens when the devil tries to keep encroaching? You got to take his head. That's what I was taught as a 5%.
True indeed. True indeed. And we ran motherfuckers whose math wasn't right and exact off the block. You couldn't come out. You can't be out in the hood if the math ain't right. So the real issue is we let these niggas on the block.
That's that's what I've been saying.
That's the real issue.
Isn't that what I've been saying? Like, we let too many of these niggas get too close to us when they shouldn't have been.
Yep. I know the God because I met the God in real life on 125. I've been around the God in real life. See what I'm saying? Not these people who just tapping in like this. I had to go be around that energy to get respect from niggas. Feel me? Like, that's just what it was. They don't come from that. That's why I keep telling people about the nation and where we come from, the generation I come from. You got to show and prove. We don't, you can't get that off. Show and prove. And that's that. You know what I'm saying? So
that's what we was asking. We was just asking for proof. This dude started talking about the Spanish came and conquered the people. What was he calling them?
Man, down in Florida. See, that's the thing. When he initially started talking to us, and I really don't want to talk about him, because that's not why we have Brother Turtle come on.
I don't
talk about him.
I got no issue with him.
I just wanted to see what your thoughts was on some of these people in this space that have made a lot of these claims, because we see them for the frauds that they are, and we call them for it, and we not going to stop calling them for it, calling them on it at all.
Yeah, there was a tribe in Florida. I'm trying to remember the tribe. At first he was talking about them. Then he more recently started talking about the Koasati. But the thing about it is, he's never gotten into the various bands the way you're talking about, like, oh, there's different bands of these people. He didn't get into that and say, well, my people are this band of Koasati or Kushada, with that is not affiliated with the ones that you guys are looking at. He didn't say that. He just says he's Koasati. That's it. Use the general term,
don't know everything.
And that was it.
And that's what I've learned. Like, bro, we deal with the Lenape in Canada because there's no political issues, right? The ones out in Oklahoma don't like us because if they ever want to come back here to where they can, the viable land, the East Coast, ain't nobody building no casinos and stuff in Oklahoma. So they got visions of coming back east. But they can't come back east because we got relationships with the state, the institutions. See what I'm saying? So they got to convince them people we fake, right? But we got relationships with the Muncie, because see, the Muncie from here that left, they didn't go to Oklahoma, they went to Canada.
There it is, my bad, Tamiqua.
So we got relationships with the ones in Canada. See what I'm saying? So, like I said, it all come to building relationships. You know what I mean? If you saying you these people, you're going to have a relationship with somebody. See what I'm saying? So I say give people a period of time, like any business, take you a couple years to get official. So I say they come in talking about they this. Okay, I'm going to give you 5 years to see if your people come get you. If your people don't come get you, you probably not that. So I say give people a little bit of grace period. Feel me?
No doubt. So let's get off that, because I don't really even want to. I don't like talking about him or even Dane Callout. The only reason we mentioned Dane is because of his influence, and it's just very unfortunate the way that he does what he does. And so many people actually are influenced by what he says. And so I think that for us, we really are, reparationists, man. It's not even a thing of our problem is this, right? And I was trying to say this earlier on the live. We are trying to approach it from the perspective of it being about ancestry, meaning those people who are connected to those who were enslaved in this country and faced subsequent Jim Crow, redlining, racial terrorism, towns being burnt down, towns being flooded out, losing their farms, losing their property, all of that kind of stuff like that, voting rights being abrogated, all of that kind of stuff. And so that's the things, those are the things that we're looking at for a specific set of families. We're not looking even at trying to include all quote unquote black people in the United States, because we already know that there are certain population of black people, quote unquote, in this country who are of immigrant ancestry. And so when we're dealing with white supremacists or people who are we call anti-reparationists, in many instances, they raise the question of, well, who would the eligible beneficiaries be? Black people, or trying to do race-based legislation is unconstitutional. So we understand that, which is why I was saying we use the status of freedmen, because that's the status that the people changed from slave to freed men and women with the 13th Amendment from a national perspective. And when that happened, there were certain things that were put in place by this government. There were certain promises and commitments made that some of them got fulfilled, and then some things were not. Some of the things that did get fulfilled got reneged upon, like certain acres of land. And we talked about that earlier, about the land in the Southeast region. Now, for us, part of what it is that we promote is what we call a back South strategy. And that's not just about the land, but it's also a political strategy in the sense of trying to maximize our numbers in certain areas in order to gain a political or numerical power base. So for us, it's about the Southeast region for the most part. It's not everybody, but this is just something that we promote. And so the land that we're talking about in many instances is the land in those states like South Carolina and Georgia, North Carolina, Alabama, those places like that where they were enslaved on various plantations. And I know you had an issue with that. If you want, you can speak on that.
Oh, so let me just say this. So when we were talking earlier, I'm gonna be real with you, right? Yeah, I could be an asshole, bro. So we talking earlier. I'm not knowing I'm talking to somebody that got some real, I'm talking to one of these weirdos, bro. You know what I'm saying? In the moment, okay? So a lot of things I was saying to you, I was being antagonistic. I was just trying to devil's advocate it, you know what I mean? But we having a real conversation. So I'm gonna let you know, like, bro, like you could, like, I'm really here to learn what it is y'all doing, because I really don't have no problem with the rep. I understand it. I just understand that it's nuanced. And so it's like, how do we really get around that? And then there's a few questions that I would like to at least present, so the people who are at the forefront of this have that in mind. You know what I'm saying? Like I talk about, when we talk about land, right? Long before this land was anybody's property that they bought, right? We come from a concept where we don't own the land owns us. And part of healing this is returning the people to their land. So I can understand that if in the 1800s, some individuals bought some land from the United States government or from another person, but the real issue that needs to be rectified is how they even came into possession of that land to even offer it to the people. Now, what I'm saying is, see, as natives, we fight for the land, and whoever on the land gonna benefit. So from a native perspective, it's not like if y'all get it, we gonna be mad because y'all got anything. And I'm not even trying to speak for everybody. I'm just saying within the culture, it's like we have something called land acknowledgement, right? So for years and years and years in Harlem, they having lectures, they on 125th Street, they doing all these things, evoking all the ancestors from all over the world, but they not even acknowledging the indigenous people who died right here. That's wrong. So what I'm saying is spiritually, we need, even if it's just an acknowledgement that this land once belonged to a nation of people who lost it violently before any of these transactions happened. That's all. See what I'm saying? So when the time comes that this conversation has to be had, you're aware of it. See what I'm saying? Like, you can get everything you want and get your land back in South Carolina, but what happens now when the tribe now wants to rectify the wrongs that have been done to them, and you find yourself on land that was stolen from them? Do you dig in and say, no, this is my land now? How do we work together to rectify that? Because the tribe is not going to say move out. We just want you to acknowledge this land that you're on at one time belonged to another people who went through a Holocaust. See what I'm saying? That's it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and what I was saying in response to that was this, and this is why I brought up the 5 civilized tribes who occupied a lot of that land in those particular areas that we're talking about. Those folks, like I said, were people who sided with the Confederacy.
Yes.
They not only sided with the Confederacy, they enslaved members of our families, right? And they fought against the Union in order to try to keep that particular institution. Even when they lost the war, the United States had to make them free the people that they had enslaved. Mm-hmm. Once they freed the people they had enslaved, they really didn't even want to allow them to have the rights of citizenship within those tribes. Still fighting to this day in many instances about that. So my thing is, these people went to war against the United States. In that war, they lost. They picked a side. They fought on the losing side, and they lost. I just can't bring myself to really to be concerned about them when they took such an adverse position to what we would have deemed as justice, particularly in the really basic sense of whether or not a human being has the right to property in another human being.
Okay, so, and that's all valid, but this is what I need people to understand, because this is what happens. It's obvious people don't know real history, right? It's obvious because people talk about these tribes, the 5 civilized tribes. One minute they're $5 Indians. Next minute they're our people. Why do y'all talk about the $5 tribes like they are in alignment with the rest of us who were written out of history? They are actually working just as hard against us, even harder than they are against y'all. Do y'all understand that? Moringa said, y'all people. You don't understand what you're talking about. The 5 civilized tribes are tribes that were contracted by George Washington to do their bidding. They betrayed other nations. The Cherokees that are part of the Cherokee Nation are the families that sided with the Europeans. They're not all the Cherokees. So when you say y'all people's own slaves, so did black people in America. Does that condemn every black person? See, this is what I mean. There's so much ignorance in here that we can't have a real conversation because we're talking about real issues and people are blurring them by saying this blanket, y'all own this.
But see,
as many black people owned slaves during
it wasn't many black people. It was a handful, and most of those people owned their own family members so that they would not be sold to
and that's
other.
A nice way to put it, but there's also
no, that's the historical way to put it, because we not the people you talking about that deal with bad history. We deal with actual history.
See how you get, listen.
Because I don't want you to think that you could come up here and just say anything and you're not going to get challenged, bro. We're not doing that. Not on this platform.
Listen, y'all not listening. Indians, listen, please listen.
We're listening, bro. We're listening.
So, bro, listen.
Because you just want to talk.
No,
and
I
you don't want to listen. You don't want to listen.
Bro, I'm
you
trying
just
to
want to talk, bro.
Bro.
All right, you can share what you want gonna share, but when you say something problematic, you're gonna receive some pushback because we know history.
I'm being accused of being the group of Indians that enslaved people. I'm trying to tell you.
I never said that. That's not what I said.
You have a person in here that is injecting that. I'm speaking to that. You understand? Which is why we can't get past this. What I'm saying is people keep saying the those nations were nations of traitors. Please don't judge all the tribes by what those people did. Okay? Those same people betrayed people like me because I am what? I'm part African as well. So stop acting like I'm something outside of every bit of reparations that you're fighting for. My people would be entitled to as well. Right. So I'm not fighting. I'm trying to have a good understanding, and I'm trying to get people to understand that just like I might have misconceptions of what y'all are doing, people definitely have misconceptions of who the Eastern Woodland Indians are as opposed to the 5 civilized tribes are, and they keep trying to make us responsible for that history. They betrayed us. Yes. So
that's wrong, and that's not our position.
I know, but
that's not our position.
No, but when you're talking about you, like when I say that, I want you to like at least acknowledge. I'm not talking about acknowledging the 5 civilized tribes. No, they're traitors. They're not honorable. What all I'm saying is that the same way you had all these groups in Harlem, the conscious community, praising every other indigenous community everywhere on the planet, but not even mentioning the fact that they're standing in Muscootin, which is the Lenape word for Harlem. I just think that's a problem. So all we ask is that just acknowledge it, just like you would go anywhere and acknowledge the ancestors of that land. That's it. See what I'm saying? No, and not saying acknowledge those people who stole and had slaves. We're not saying acknowledge them. Those are traitors. We're talking about the spirits of the land. Like it's a different concept. It's not nothing against nobody. It's talking about a spiritual way. That's it. See what I'm saying? I'm not having the conversation that you think I was having with you earlier. I'm not trying to be antagonistic or against you. I'm just trying to help shed some of the misbeliefs that we both have.
So I don't know. I can't read that. What is it? Our job is to push our history, not others. And that's a fact. You know, because here's what's interesting, right? In many instances, just what you're talking about, blacks do that, right? They try to include Native Americans in what they do. One of the things that I've seen from is somebody, if anybody has this particular tweet from this woman, drop it, drop it, a link for it or whatever. But there was a Native American woman who said something very interesting. I don't even know which tribe she's from, but she was on Twitter and people were talking about Native Americans with regard to reparations for Black Americans. Oh, we got to include Native Americans. The woman said, I wish y'all would stop bringing Native Americans up in y'all's reparations fight. We have nothing to do with y'all fight. So now the very people who are being accused of not considering these people who actually do, in many instances, consider Native Americans, just BIPOC and all of these different things that these people have come up with and are pushing. There are people or elements within various Native American groups that don't want to be involved in it because they don't see our plight as their plight. They have their own issues. They have their own governments who can speak on behalf of their people. They don't need us to be advocates for them. They have actual nation-to-nation relationships with the United States. So we're advocating for ourselves. We're advocating for our families and the things that we need and that we know is owed to us from the actual labor that was put in by our families that not even the Indians put in. Okay, the work that our families did made this place into a world superpower, not what the Indians did, our families. And so the fact of the matter is to have someone steal your family's labor like that and not have them compensated to the point where they coming out of slavery into poverty and racial terrorism and have to have their children inherit that stuff for generation upon generation to the point where they are a bottom caste in this country. That's something that we have the right, like I said earlier, to petition this government who we've been forced to pay taxes to for redress of our specific grievances. We don't have to advocate on behalf of anybody else. Right. And I also asked you if you remember, what Native American group do you know of has a problem with what it is that we're talking about, even land acquisition? Which one of them is complaining or has made any kind of official complaint about Black people acquiring land in southern regions of the United States? Who's ever complained about that?
Who is complaining?
That's what I'm saying. So when you bring up the point, and I'm bringing that up because when you bring up the point about acknowledging that there were people there before the Europeans even got the land to transfer the land over when it became abandoned lands during the Civil War.
It wasn't abandoned.
I'm saying
that's what the Europeans tell you. It wasn't abandoned.
No, when they saying abandoned, they're talking about abandoned by the former Confederates who were occupying the land before the Civil War. During the Civil War, they fled because they were in the middle of a war. Yeah. So those abandoned lands, they were trying to reallocate that land to various freedmen families in the South. Some of them got some of that land. Some of them were able to keep it. The majority of them had that land taken back when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. So the land that was granted to them, they lost. The land that they wound up being able to purchase got stolen from them. At a certain point after the Civil War, our families had acquired 250,000 farms. Today, we're down to about 35,000 farms. So we lost over 210,000 farms between then and now.
Okay. So
that's all I'm talking about. And I'm saying that if there are Native Americans who have a problem with land grants for Black Americans in the South, who have a problem with land acquisition from us, none of them have said anything about it.
Nobody. I never suggested anybody. All I'm saying is like all acknowledgement mean it just means saying like you give a ashe and move on. I'm not saying nothing more than that, but this is what I want to speak to because I don't think people understand when I'm like, you're thinking nations, right? Indian nations. I'm not speaking for Indian nations, right? I'm speaking about those of us who are absolutely of African descent as well as native descent, right? Who went through the exact same things that you are describing, right? I don't know why people think we didn't have the same experience. My people were all labeled Negro and misclassified and everything. We made absolute contributions. I will read you from my family book. Peter Rock is my fourth-time great-grandfather. Peter Rock's property was a station for the Underground Railroad. Runaway slaves hid in his cornfields by day and were moved by night to Christ Church and Quaker Church. Right. So we participated. We helped free. It's documented in state record that we helped free over 10,000 slaves. We built some of the first buildings. Like we are part of the foundation of our communities. We're not separating ourselves from that. And because we're native, it doesn't separate us from that. We were all classified as Negro. We were some of the first people with our status is taken from us.
All right. I want to talk about that for a minute, brother. I want to talk about the reclassification part of, and I assume you're speaking about Walter Plecker.
Before Walter Plecker, long before Walter Plecker.
So, okay, give me an example.
All right, so I'm gonna read something to you.
All
right. So this is documents.
I'm glad you're breaking that down because that'll help dispel some falsehoods because people are blaming Walter Plecker for everything reclassification.
No. So look, so here, this is an article. It's called "Why is New?" And it's all online. It's called "Why is New Jersey's Commission on Indian Affairs committing historical genocide?" Okay, that's what the article's about. This article is literally about my literal tribe, right? So it says the story begins in 1669. So we're going back to 1669, but I'm gonna take you up further, right? So it says the first major migration took place in 1711 to 1713 when racism and religious intolerance in Georgia and Virginia drove the Kiowa Cherokee to New Jersey. My Cherokee side of my family, who are the Richardsons, migrated up here in the 1700s because they were being misclassified as Negro then. Okay,
all right.
And they migrated.
How did they get how did they get that last name Richardson? The Cherokee.
Richardson?
Yes.
Because, okay, so you're going to love this. So the first, let's go back to, Gouldstown, Gouldstown. I know Chief Gould is a personal friend of mine. So you're going to love this, Lord Abba. So companies like the Dutch Company, Virginia Company, they were companies, right? They were not Dutch people. At the time, now you remember, the Netherlands was under control of what at one point? Iberia, the Moors, right? Right? Do you remember that?
No, I don't. The Netherlands? No, I'm not. I don't recall that.
Okay, so the Netherlands is a part of. It's right above Spain, and it was under.
Oh, no, I know where the Netherlands are, but I don't recall it being under Moorish control.
Yeah, under what point it was under Spanish rule, under Spanish control, right? The people were fleeing up there, and they were becoming Protestants. Those are some of the same people that migrated that came to the Americas working for like the Dutch Company and places like that. Some of the first settlers in New Amsterdam were of African Moorish descent. The first inhabitant of Manhattan, the first non-indigenous inhabitant of Manhattan was a man by the name of Rodriguez. He was described as a black Dutchman. He got kicked off the ship by the captain. I can send you all the documents.
Was he from Santo Domingo or something like that?
No, they were with the Dutch Company. Right?
Okay.
The Dutch Company brought 30 families over here to settle in what we call New York, but it was New Amsterdam at the time. They settled in Lower Manhattan, and they settled in what would be Albany, right? Because of their ports. They're great spots for ports, for shipping. So 18 families settled in Lower Manhattan, 12 in Albany. Of those 18 families in Manhattan, they spoke 12 different dialects, African dialects, Spanish dialects. It was a mishmash of people of color who were being brought over here. They were brought here to intermingle with the population. You understand? When you set up a business, when you set up a business, if you target, you go into the hood, right? You're going to send people to set the store up, and you're going to send management, and you're going to hire people from the community to work for you. That's what was going on. So those first groups of people that were coming here were people of color, and they were interacting with the Indians because that was the play. Those people intermarried. General Stuyvesant, Bedford Stuyvesant, he had 8 soldiers that he employed. When they retired, that was the term they used after the contract was up. When they retired, they went to what they call Bergen. That's Bergen County. They settled in Bergen County and opened up new trading posts because that's what they were doing.
I'm in Bergen County right now.
Those men, all 8 men, were of Moorish ancestry. I'm telling you that families like mine, we have these names because, like, we consider ourselves first lineage of the Lenape. We are the first people that intermarried with the Lenape. My family is a product of that. That's why when the tribes left, we stayed, because our grandmothers would have been married to somebody who was established to the colonial business. I can take you to all these families out here in Jersey. I can take you to these little families now. We all know who we are. We all are considered Indians, right? But our ancestors going back years were some of the first families that intermarried with these European settlers, many of whom were of Moorish ancestry. They were Dutch, they were different, but we're thinking that the general people think that people from Europe were all white, and they weren't. And that's just the truth.
Yeah, that's
so
just not true.
What I'm saying to you is that families like mine who have these long histories, we have them because we tied in with people who kept their history. See what I'm saying? Whereas the other, see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is we are a part of everything. My grandfathers were some of the first freeholders in New Jersey. See what I'm saying? Like, we literally are extensions of the people who helped build the country.
All right.
Just
so
like you are. Just like you are.
I have another question because there's a bunch of questions in the chat, and I'm gonna pull one up in particular because there's some things that I'm hearing that's not matching up with what I know historically. But okay. I got a question specifically. What year did because you said the reclassification happened before Walter Plecker? What year?
I just told you 1711.
Like 1711.
Yeah, I'm reading it. I'm literally reading it out of here. I have it on my documentary. It shows you the migration started in 1711 because of racism and religious intolerance. On paper, they were classifying the Kituwa Cherokee as Negro and stripping them of their rights. So they came to New Jersey. Y'all not gonna know this information because you're not looking at the Indian information.
I've read that before.
Yeah, look, so I want to bring up something, and I want to look.
Hold up. Listen.
All right, listen. No, go ahead.
All right, so it culminated in 1924 with the Racial Integrity Act. That was the culmination, but these practices have been going on since 1711. 5 treaties from 1768 to 1777 in Virginia and elsewhere contributed to more migrations since they ceded all the land to the colonists. This is what they would do. They would tell you, the state would say, the federal government would say, you can stay, but you can't keep your status as Indian, but you can stay and keep your property. Then the state would say, well, if you stay, you have to be labeled Negro, and Negroes can't own property. You see? So the federal government saying you can stay and keep your property, but the state saying if you stay, you got to be Negro, and by law, Negro can't own property. Those are the laws they was passing, which was making people migrate out. This is why half of my family came to New Jersey. Now, if you want to talk about Richardson, the etymological term of Richardson has to do with landowners.
All right, hold on, because I want to stay on this. So what I have pulled up right now is called virtual Jamestown, because like I said, there's certain things that I'm hearing.
I'm not saying nothing about Jamestown. I ain't got nothing to do with Jamestown.
I know, but when you're making a broad claim,
I didn't make a broad claim. No, see, you can't do that. I did not say broad claim. Pardon me, bro. I said Kituwa Cherokee. I told you where they migrated from. I told you what years. That's not a broad claim.
Okay,
please.
Okay,
let's keep it a buck.
But you did say earlier when I asked about the reclassification,
and I was speaking for my people exactly, which is why I brought my book out, bro. Come on, bro. We can do this with other people. You know that. You know I speak.
No. Look, I'm just trying to get to the truth because these claims are.
I just told you the truth. It's not a claim. It can be documented.
I got you. I want to read this real quick, and then we'll flush it. We'll flush it out.
Fact.
So this is March of 1655, Act 1. An introduction to the acts concerning Indians. Now this is 1655.
Now
this is
it. Now let me break this down.
Hold on, bro. Hold on. Let me read, and then you can respond. No, because you're trying to do steamroller.
Where is it?
No, brother. Let me read.
You're wrong, bro.
Let me read, brother.
Where is it? Please, bro. I'm reading. Not trying to cut you. Please, just
brother,
tell me where
I'm reading it.
I'm reading it. Just tell me, bro. I can help you. Trust me. Just trust me, bro. I love you, my nigga. Trust me, please. What territory? Please.
I just said it, brother. This is
Virginia.
Okay, now let me tell you why I'm asking you this.
No, I'm going to read first, and then we're going to get to that part.
No, you don't need to, please.
No, I do need to, because this is important. No, brother, I'm going to read.
Let me inform you of something, please, bro. Please.
Bro, I'm going to read first.
Just let me inform you, please.
Brother, I'm going to read. Hold on, bro. Hold on. This is BTP, bro. This is BTP. I'm going to read first, and then we're going to get to your claims, and we can finish fleshing this thing out. March 1655, 6, an Act 1, an introduction to the acts concerning Indians. Now, this is 1655. Colonial legislators created a distinction between Native Americans and Africans in this statute. And when they say Africans, of course, they mean the black people that either came over here or were brought over here on slave ships. It reads, if the Indians shall bring in any children as gauges of their good and quiet intentions to us and amity with us, then the parents of such children shall choose the persons to whom the care of such children shall be entrusted, and the country by us, their representatives, do engage that we will not use them as slaves, but do their best to bring them up in Christianity, civility, and the knowledge of necessary trades. And on the report of the commissioners of each respective country, that those under whose tuition they are do really intend the bettering of the children in these particulars, then a salary shall be allowed to such men as shall deserve and require it. So that's number one, when we're dealing with these statutes and we're dealing with the records that show how the Europeans were interacting with the Native Americans here, we see that, as it says, colonial legislators created a distinction between Native Americans and Africans in this statute. And here they're speaking about not letting the Native Americans become slaves and rearing them up as Christians. There's a long history of this. When we get to Plecker, and we're talking about reclassifications in the early 1900s, we have to put that into context. First and foremost, they didn't like the fact, Plecker didn't like the fact, this is where we get this one drop rule from, that mixed breeds between quote unquote blacks and natives were trying to strictly pass as natives. And so Plecker devised the scheme that any of them would be considered Negro, because we want to view the pure Indian as the pure Indian and the Negro as the Negro. And if they mix, then we're going to call their children Negro as well. And the term is not Negro on the records. The term, from my research, only shows colored. So we got to do some clarification here. We're not going to do steamroller scholarship on BTP. We don't do that over here, bro. Now, I'm going to let you cook, but when I'm cooking, I got to cook, bro.
You got to unmute. You got to unmute.
It's unmuted.
Okay, that's peace. I respect you, Lord Abba, but I'm going to show you, like, we got to be honest. You talked about something that had nothing to do with the time frames I brought up. Like, that's information that you just wanted to hear yourself talk. Now, this is what I wanted to tell you. You were talking about what was going on in Virginia, right? At 1650, right? I'm talking about what was going on from 1711 to 1777, okay? So there's, like, that's a wide, we're not even talking about the same territories, like specific territories. Now, also, I want you to understand is that the time frame in which you're speaking of, right? Because I am a combination of Cherokees from Georgia, not Virginia, right? So I know you'd like for people to think that what was going on in Virginia is the exact same thing that was going on in Georgia, but they were different states for very big reasons, right? So, and I also want you to understand, okay, then pardon me, I ain't gonna put words in your mouth. Also want you to understand that at the time in Virginia, those were English colonies. Where I'm at in New York, New Jersey, where you from, those were Dutch colonies. They had different rules. So the rules you're reading right now did not apply to my people up here because we were under different rule. 1664 is when the English took over. That's when they changed laws. And I'm gonna tell you, in 1664, they changed laws and they started to institute a certain law, English law, that said that anybody who owned any type of large farms, you had to import your workers from Barbados, right? This is all the stuff that is going on because there's a difference. So prior to the English taking over New York, New Jersey, the rules were different. The rules were very different. What you were reading didn't apply to the territory I was in. That's why these tribes were migrating to New Jersey. Pardon me, to New Jersey. That's all I was trying to tell you before. Everything you was going into, people have to be more educated. Just like I don't know all the nuances of what y'all doing. Y'all don't know all the nuances of this Indian history. And this Indian history is as much black folks' history as it is anybody else's, because we're a combination of the two. Like,
okay.
I don't know why people think.
All right, no. Look. I'm not here to question anybody's Indian ancestry. I done said that like a million times.
No, I'm talking about people in your chat. They want to reduce the conversation to ad hominem stuff, and that's like, come on, man, we way better than that.
But this is just us. I'm just talking to you. I'm not even watching the chat. But what I'm saying is this: I've never questioned anybody's Indian ancestry. I've never done that, right? Because I feel like it's irrelevant. No.
I'm not questioning this brother's ancestry. I'm questioning certain things that I'm hearing.
Definitely not his, right? And I've said that on many occasions that I don't believe that Turtle is one of them pretendian people, right? I've seen, like I said, I've seen images.
Google my family history,
like, right? So now, but there are a lot of people, right? There are a lot of people who, you know, and here's the interesting thing about it is, when I look at you, I can see certain things there from a phenotypic perspective that lets me know that there is some admixture. So when you're talking about your family being Native American, I can see in your phenotype why you would say something like that. There are certain people that are called black people, and sometimes they're saying that they're American Indians, who, when I look at the names of the people that they're saying they're from, they have a specific look, right? And I know you're saying there are various bands of people, and there's, you know, oftentimes I guess what they're trying to say is that there are these black bands of these different tribes that these people come from, but nobody has any images of these people. There's no connection to any kind of tradition. There's no connection to any culture, any kind of customs. Everything has just been gone, right? Of course, so that's why I'm like, when I look at these people, I don't see what I see when I look at you.
Like Top Cat.
Let me just say this to one of your guests.
And I'm all right. One second.
Nindu Shinzi Tako.
When we talk about
Lotamin Wanda Ninun Giayi Shiekbi Ok Lenapeoking Ok Jersey.
When we talk about ancestry and we challenge people to do genetic testing, they try to dismiss it as junk science. And the reason that we know that they're trying to dismiss it as junk science is because they're afraid of what the results are going to produce and what it's going to say to them. And so for me, it's like, to get past all of this stuff, because everything ain't written down. Everybody's not going to find all of this stuff written down, whether it's there or not. One of the ways that we can tell what it is that we have in our ancestry for the African deniers, the slave trade deniers, the ones who claim that there's no African ancestry in their family, that they're pure American Indians, right? Because there's a lot of those running around too.
They're lying.
The genetic testing, what it does is it shows whether or not you share genetics with people in other regions of the planet. I'm not saying it's going to find a cousin or this or that. I'm saying that when you share genetics with people in West Africa, what that says is that you also share common ancestry. And that's not something that you can get around. The same way that those genetic tests can find cousins, actual cousins in the United States that you never knew anything about, though, and you know that you share common ancestry with those cousins you never knew anything about. The same thing applies with West Africans or Central Africans that you share genetics with. You have common ancestry there too. So what they need to do is knock off the BS, knock it off with this slave trade denial nonsense, knock off this nonsense about, oh, well, where are the slave ships and this and that and the other. Where I always tell them, when you ask me where the slave ships are, I'm going to ask you, where's the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria, where's the Mayflower? The fact of the matter is those Europeans are here. And unless you're trying to say that those Europeans are also indigenous to this land, they came here by boat. And they came
slave ships are just cargo ships. They got museums all over Europe with all the slave ships in Europe.
And these people came on the same boats that the Africans came on. I talk about the black conquistadors who actually came in the late 14, early 1500s with the Portuguese and the Spaniards. Some of them were slaves. Some of them came of their own accord, whatever the case is, but they were early colonists here along with these people. So don't try to act like our people didn't come here by way of the Atlantic Ocean. Our ancestors did come here by way of the Atlantic Ocean. These people just at a point where they want to ignore that part of the history.
Check this out. There were Africans that came here in the 1500s and they revolted. They revolted and they fled in South Carolina, and they settled in South Carolina in the 1500s. And by the time they came back here in the 1600s, them Africans had been fully matriculated into the culture, into the people. Like this is information that we know, that indigenous nations have this information. We know Africans was here long before Columbus. We know we've been interacting with them.
So why do they deny the African existence in their families?
Because the people you're talking to are not real people. They don't have the real history. Like them people are not. See, people keep confusing us with them. We are not them. I didn't learn about my native ancestry online. I learned about my native ancestry at home, being told not to talk about it. You understand? Mm-hmm. Like this not, I could show y'all newspapers from 1976 where my uncle died. They're talking about one of the last of Lenape dies. And because the whole town knew who we were. You understand? Like this is not, I'm not one of them. And the people in the chat need to understand that. They say I can't speak the language.
Let me say,
I
this
just
is what the people,
language. Now they want me to
hold on, bro. This is what the people are talking about in the chat, right?
And I appreciate you speaking. I appreciate you speaking the language, because a lot of these pretendians are cut completely off from the culture and the customs of the people they claim to belong to.
Mm-hmm.
What the people are talking about is the fact that there was a conversation had with you and Ali earlier about reparations, right? And what they are expressing, because I'm not questioning your lineage. I haven't done that one time. We've been building of knowing each other for years. We built, somewhat back in the days when I was definitely on my side of 125th Street stuff, et cetera, right? But there's some things that I heard historically that didn't line up with my research, right? But I'm a freeze on that for now, and I'm gonna let that. You just want to hear your.
Y'all have to understand, research is research. The primary source, which is the people. The people still here. Go talk to the people. We got to stop that.
I got you.
The primary sources is here. Why don't y'all talk to the people if you want to know Indian history?
So what the people are expressing is that this is our concern, and that what we're fighting for has nothing to do with Native Americans. It has nothing to do with Lenape. No,
why do y'all
because
think
it doesn't?
Because
it doesn't.
Let me explain. Let me explain why. I'm gonna tell you it from a legal perspective. I'm gonna tell you from a legal perspective why it doesn't matter. Right? The same way we're not concerned with Africans, even though we know and acknowledge African ancestry. Right? I'm gonna tell you why it doesn't matter. These terms, from the legal perspective, African, American Indian, Black, Negro, colored, these are terminologies that were used as racial classifications for various groups of people. According to the United States Supreme Court, race-based legislation is unconstitutional. This is something I mentioned earlier. So to get into the ethnic, because what we're really talking about is the ethnic ancestry of various families, which is all mixed up. We're not all the same. Like I can't, because you're Lenape doesn't mean that I'm Lenape, and doesn't mean that Naheem is Lenape or whatever the case is. Now, let me tell you what my DNA came back saying.
It's crazy.
The DNA came back saying
Ramapo received it because they have elders that needed, like, never mind. Go ahead.
Hold on. Yeah, like, don't watch that for a second, man. So the thing about it is, my genetics came back saying that there was like 0.3 or 0.4% Native American ancestry. Now, that's what came back with my family. The large majority of what my thing said was West Africa, places like Mali, etc. So, but that doesn't matter. Even with me, my Malian ancestry doesn't matter in this reparations claim. That's why I said what it really comes down to when we're talking about who should be eligible and how to identify the eligible recipients, we're talking about the people who were emancipated from Negro chattel slavery in 1865 and their descendants. There was about 4 million of those people, and then they had families after that. If you can connect yourself to those 4 million people, regardless of what their ethnic background was, Yoruba, Lenape, Muncie, whatever the case is, that's who the eligible recipient should be. I don't care if you got Indian
So check this out. People say I'm not eligible. Does anybody ever heard of Flemington, New Jersey? You heard of Flemington, New Jersey?
Nah, what is that? South Jersey?
Yeah, it's like West Jersey. Okay, so Flemington, New Jersey at one point in time was called the Fleming Indian Reservation. It was a reservation, I mean, plantation, not a reservation, a plantation. Okay, my Indian ancestors were enslaved at Fleming Indian Reservation. Look it up now. I mean, Indian plantation. You can look it up now.
That still don't have nothing to do with us, brother.
But bro, listen, connected to what I'm saying. Those people, were they emancipated by the 13th Amendment in 1865? Were they?
They were they were classified as Negro slaves.
Okay.
Yes, they were emancipated, everything.
By the 13th Amendment in 1865.
Everything, bro. We got declassified.
Okay, well then that's what matters.
And labeled as Negro. I don't know why people think, like, I have family members that look just like y'all. We don't all look like me. Like, see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why people think we didn't have that same experience. We got
some people
declassified.
Did. Absolutely.
They treated us like Negroes just like anybody else.
But not all Indians went through that.
No,
okay,
the Eastern Woodland Indians went through the same chattel slavery everybody else. I know where, listen, y'all not letting me finish. I know where my grandfather was enslaved. It's now Flemington, New Jersey. Samuel Fleming owned the plantation. It's now Flemington, New Jersey. I know where one of my grandmothers was enslaved. It was a farm that is now Brookdale University. We have our family gathering there every year because that's where our grandmother was enslaved. And she died there. I have ancestors that died in slavery. Like, what are we talking about? Right, and I know exactly who.
Right in Teaneck, New Jersey, there's a quote unquote African burial ground.
We just stopped that from being dug up. We just stopped that. My tribe stopped that. My chief stopped Teaneck from digging that. So you bear witness to that. My chief stopped that. They was gonna dig that shit up.
But what I'm saying is this: just like African doesn't matter in this claim, neither does Indian, neither does Black, neither does colored, neither does mulatto. None of that stuff matters, right? Because what's going to happen is the same thing that happened to the Black farmers when they tried to get relief from the United States government. People argued reverse racism and that the legislation being based on race is unconstitutional, so we can't do that. It doesn't matter. This is what I'm saying. If you are half Black, half Muncie, half Cherokee, whatever, it don't matter.
I know that.
It doesn't matter.
I agree with you. Now, let me read this because this is from because people talk about genealogy. This is my family genealogy book. This is coming from public records, right? Says, the majority of land originally purchased by the first two Peter Rocks. See, they're talking about people buying land, acquiring land, right? The majority of land originally purchased by the first two Peter Rocks was eventually lost to non-payment of taxes after death. These two recorded sales of property that take place at the Globe Hotel in Red Bank, New Jersey. The first took place on November 30th, 1894. Tax collector Essex White of Shrewsbury Township sold off several properties of African-American families bearing the name Richardson, Reevy, Rock, Ruffin, among others. The second sale of property took place December 30th, 1895. These two land sales stripped the future generations of Rock family members of the entitlement of heritage of hundreds of acres of prime New Jersey land that had been amassed by their ancestors, Peter Rock and his son, Peter. This is my family's history.
Excellent. Beautiful.
So why am I not entitled to?
Nobody's questioning that. Right now, look, let me just go into this one more time. If your family members were reclassified as Negroes, Blacks, colors, and enslaved and fell under the institution of Negro chattel slavery and were emancipated in 1865 by the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution and then lived to have to endure the badges and incidents of slavery as Negroes, blacks, or colors up until this day, those are the people that we're talking about. I don't care about the ethnic background of the people because we are comprised of many, many different ethnic backgrounds. You can name a whole bunch of them. I can name some of the African ones. It's all mixed up along with some of the European ones in this country. That's not the point. The people who had to live the life of a Negro, or black, or a colored, etc., are the people who are the targeted beneficiaries of any federal reparations program, rightly and justly.
Exactly.
Period.
Now,
who cares about anybody's ethnic background? Because that really don't matter. Because the Europeans didn't care about that when they was enslaving niggas.
That's why I'm here tonight, because I'm with you. And I want you to know that the conversation we had earlier was an antagonistic, sarcastic conversation. The real conversation is what we having now, right? So, like, I don't feel like I'm not your enemy. I'm not working against you. I'm not nothing. Like, I support what y'all do. Honestly, I'm getting a better understanding of what it is y'all do, and I respect it, right? Like, I don't speak for no $5 Indian, no civilized nations. I speak for the Black Indians who were reclassified and went through the same thing that everyone else is complaining about. That's it. And in regards to the lady saying she's seen it was the Black movement, yeah, they brought attention to it, but they don't have the jurisdiction based on the law of the land. The Constitution says any treaty that predates the Constitution is law of the land. So those people had to reach out to the tribes that have jurisdiction. That's why. So it was a combination of that group that you were talking about, reaching out to the tribe, and the chief putting the call in. That's how it works. That's how we work together. And people think that we're not working together with people. But in real life, we're actually doing things with organizations all throughout the state. And we don't.
What organization? Go ahead.
Hold on. Because I'm sitting here and I'm being patient, right? Because the conversation is good, and I don't want to just appear to be adversarial. And I'm listening, right? He said I wasn't listening. I listen to everything. You said that earlier, right? And what you were saying in the beginning of this live stream is different than what you're saying now. This is why there were so many questions.
How was that?
Hold on, brother. This is why there were so many questions. And the main questions in the beginning coming from everyone in the chat was, so he wants us to fight for Indians or Indian reparations?
I never said that.
But how it came off.
No, that's how y'all hear it.
I
apologize for y'all misconstruing the things I say.
No, no one misconstrued anything, because I heard it. And we have this is one of the smartest chats on YouTube.
I said acknowledge the land you're on. That's it. That's what I said.
Now, when we first were talking earlier on Instagram, that's what I felt. I know you saying you were being antagonistic at the time, but that's what I took away from the conversation was that, yo, y'all need to get in line and support us and what we're doing, because there's a hierarchy to this whole thing and y'all not respecting that. And so my thing was like, so you saying that we should put a pause on our justice claim in order to support whatever these various Native Americans are doing. Everybody don't even want the same thing. I don't think all Native Americans are looking for the same things from the United States government. But because it was a general term the general phraseology that was being used, like it was like us, the Native Americans. I'm like, well, that's a whole bunch of different people that got different claims against the United States or no claim at all. I don't know what these people are even looking for. So it just seemed like you were saying to me, we should wait until y'all do whatever it is that y'all doing before we start trying to push for justice. And so I think other people were hearing that in that same kind of way.
Well, my apologies if that's how it came across, but that's not what I was.
It definitely came across that way. Well, there's no misconstruing of anything.
No, it's definitely a misconstruing, because that's not what I said. If that's what I would have said.
Misconstruing.
It's not on my part, though.
Yeah,
I can't.
If it's
coming
out of your mouth,
for your comprehension.
If it's coming out of your mouth, you can't. Then
I can only be held accountable for the words I say. That's it. I know what language is.
Hold on. Nah, hold on. because I'm feeling like I'm getting disrespected on my platform, and I'm trying to be cool. I'm trying my best. And when I got a recap of the conversation that was held earlier, between the discussion between you and Ali, I felt disrespected after I got finished talking to Ali. What you're basically implying is that we're too stupid to understand the shit that you're saying. First and foremost, you're saying the bullshit that we got to try to guess that it's not what you're saying, but it got to be what you're saying, because you're saying it in a way that only people of your intellectual capacity could understand. Ain't nobody disrespecting me on my platform. That's for ain't nobody disrespecting me, period. Platform or no platform. So you, like I said, this audience right here, these people that's in this audience right here are some of the most well-versed and well-read that you would ever come across. Point blank, period. This trying to overtalk me every single time that I talk, because you're like, I know that debate tactic. It's called the steamroller tactic, and it's usually done by people who are wrong and trying to force a point. And I'm trying my best to be easy and let the conversation just go.
And let me point out one last time, and then I think we should let Ibrahim go in, because we're already an hour and a half in. The wrong thing that's being said, that has been said by you as well as many other people, and it's not a whole lot, because I like I said, I can't tell you about your family, so I can't argue with you about that. The thing that's wrong about what you've said and many other people have said is that somehow the ethnic backgrounds, the multiple ethnic lineages of our people who have been classified as Negroes, Blacks, Colors, Africans, etc., somehow matters in this reparations push, when it doesn't. All I'm saying to you is that we have to stop that and understand that we're talking about a specific group of people who were classified and who had to live the life of a Negro, Black, or colored, and later African American in this country, and are descendants of these 4 million people who were emancipated specifically by the 13th Amendment nationally. So that's what, to me, from the very, very technical perspective, it is that we're talking about. And the problem that the pretendians are having is that they want to make it a race and ethnic conversation, where we're telling them it's more about the status of the people and the people who descended from those who had the status change of slave to freed men and women in 1865. Status is always at issue. It's always that issue. We already know we can't do race-based legislation and policy, because everybody in the country is going to challenge it. It will end up in the Supreme Court and it's going to get struck down. So we're not trying to even do that. American Indian, according to the United States, is a racial classification. We're not interested in American Indian. We're not interested in African American or Black. We're not interested in any of that stuff. What we are interested in is, do you come from these people who were emancipated by the 13th Amendment in 1865, yes or no? And have you been living the life of a so-called Black person in this country, yes or no? That's it. All that other stuff don't matter. Because if you're an American Indian who has been reclassified as Black, then it doesn't matter if we're talking about your specific Kawasaki background. It doesn't matter if we're talking about a specific Muncie background. That doesn't matter, because we're talking about an entire group of people. Some may have been Muncie in background, some may have been Cherokee, some may have been Yoruba, some may have been Fulani. It doesn't matter. All these people who came through that institution of Negro chattel slavery, and whose ancestors were emancipated at that specific point in time by that specific amendment to the Constitution. That's it. That's it. That makes it simple, so we don't have to argue with people about their ethnic background. I don't care about nobody's ethnic background. Ibrahim.
Yeah, the whole conversation creates mission drift when you do that, and you put it perfectly. I've been listening to the brother, and I don't disagree with him, But his narrative, his history, his people, they lost, right? And if they want to win, they're going to have to take that argument up with the 5 civilized tribes who have a greater connection to the American government and gets to write and classify what history gets taught and what doesn't. He's telling it to us like we don't care. We don't care. We bottom cast anyway. You from New York, right? 8 million people, 8 million stories. It's our job to tell our story in America. It's not our job to tell anybody else's story. There's a lot of stories to be told, but don't put that on us. We have the most powerful, impactful story and a justice claim.
That's what I thought I was hearing, but maybe I'm too stupid. Maybe everybody that's listening in the chat is too stupid to understand what you.
But ain't that what everybody tries to do with us?
They putting words in my mouth, bro. I didn't come here for this. I came to talk to you about what y'all doing. I didn't come here to. Y'all asked me questions in which I spoke about my family. I'm not telling y'all anything about who your family is or nothing. I'm not. All these things that y'all are trying to assign from me, I never said none of these things.
You just tied in American freedmen with Native American. You said we all the same or something like that.
No, I didn't, bro. You can't even say what I said. So why should I be held accountable for it?
Well,
you just said you said Black history is Native American history.
You did say that.
I said we're a part of it. I said we're all a part of it, and I explained it. I literally explained it.
I understand. Listen,
bro,
I understand what you're saying. That because of the amalgamation, and this is simple logic. Because of the amalgamation between various groups of people, some of that history is ours. Yes. And I would say some. I'm not going to make no broad generalized statement and saying all of these people's history is ours. I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not saying you said that. I'm not saying you said that, but I don't want that kind of a message to get misconstrued out of what is being said. And I didn't say you said that.
The same people that y'all have a problem with me because I say the same thing to them that y'all say to them. So I don't know how all of a sudden I'm in a opposition of y'all. That video I put up, I felt offended by it, and I put it up in a mocking way for conversation to be had, this type of conversation, because I don't like, let's talk about that. I don't agree that Africa should be getting money before people that were our descendants of people who were enslaved here get money. Like, I don't know why I'm being put in a position like I'm the antithesis of what you want. And then brother talking about I need to go talk to the 5 civilized tribes. No, the 5 civilized tribes deal with domestic law. Indigenous nations deal with international treaty law. So for me to go talk to the five civilized tribes is to place myself within domestic law. Like, you don't have to give us advice about what we need to do. We have international law people that deal with Hague, that deal with law. Like, we deal with the United States as equals. We don't deal with them as subjects.
So let me ask you this.
That's not true.
It's absolutely true.
You you can't be living on reservations talking about you dealing with American government. I don't live on a reservation. No.
You don't know what he's talking about.
I'm not talking. You keep taking everything personal.
Bro,
he's taking everything personal. I'm talking about the Native Americans.
I'm not.
You just over talk.
Recognized Indian.
I didn't say you, nigga. Stop getting this. Like, calm down, nigga. God damn.
Argument with me. Have the argument with a federally recognized Indian. Why are we having this conversation?
Go ahead,
well, let me ask you.
Break down what you're going to say.
You know. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make before he got his panties in a bunch, you can't continue to have an argument on an American freedman platform that advocates for reparations, and you said it yourself.
An argument.
A discussion. A discussion.
Put words in my mouth.
A discussion.
Bro, am I arguing with you about y'all not getting reparations? Have I ever said I don't?
I didn't say anything about that. All right. Just let me finish.
I'm in argument with you. I'm in total agreement with y'all. I came here to learn more about what y'all doing. What is going on?
All right.
Wait, Ali. I gotta jump in because I'm getting frustrated, right? Because we did a whole breakdown video breaking down problematic statements that this brother said.
Who,
me and Sharif, who is an anti-reparationist, Sharif Bay.
We had that conversation before. Why are we going back now? You trying to bring that up? That's not how
Nah, you ain't gonna just
So,
keep talking.
so are
bro.
you saying your
Hold
views
on,
changed since
Ibrahim.
then?
Hold on, Ibrahim. So we already know what his stance is, right? There's a pattern of behavior, which is why he and Ali jumped on live earlier. And what he was basically telling Ali was that now y'all got to get behind us while we make our push. He wasn't talking this we're connected thing then. He was speaking in distinction between his people and American freedmen. Ali, am I right or wrong? Because I don't want to misconstrue your words.
At that moment, there was a distinction made. It
Okay, there
was
was a
because there was a
distinction
distinction
made. Okay.
between the American Indians and their plight versus American freedmen families and our plight. There was a distinction being
There was a
made, and he was
distinction.
saying that there was a hierarchy and that we need to respect that.
Okay, so now that he's here, his argument is shifting. And every time we catch him in something, he tries to put it back on us. He's trying to use the boomerang fallacy, right? All of a sudden, every question that we ask him is personalized. If we say something general, he takes it personal. If we say something personal, he says, well, the general. Like, that's not going to fly here, first and foremost. That don't fly here. The steamroller, I'm just going to hit the mute button. It's just as simple as that. Now, we could have just had the discussion, but it seems like you get flustered with the questions. So now I'm starting to question some stuff. Because hold on. I brought up Plecker for a reason. Let me show y'all why I brought up Plecker. Because we don't do no capping and we ain't doing none of that over here. This is the Turtle Gang website. And on the website, right, he's not talking about no 1711s, et cetera, et cetera. It says, we have a secret. Paper genocide is the deliberate and systematic destruction of Native American Indian culture and identity as a unique racial group by way of the illegal and oppressive race reclassification imposed on Native American Indians, or quote unquote blood Indians, to the non-Indian races of Black/African American, white, or Latino/Hispanic. With the stroke of a pen or the click of a mouse, Native American Indian ancestry can be suppressed on government records. Now, there's a reason why I just did what I did. Because I wanted the audience to hear that during the conversation between this brother and Ali earlier, there was a distinction made. On his website, this is his website, he's making the systematic destruction of Native American Indian culture, language, and identity as a unique racial group by way of the illegal and oppressive race reclassification imposed on Native American Indians or blood Indians to the non-Indian races. He's not talking about us here. He's talking about the Indian stuff, and I read this whole page. So let's read. He has a star here. The United States Supreme Court struck down Walter Plecker's Racial Integrity Act.
Can I just address it, please? Can we have the conversation?
Yep, you will, but you talked a lot.
Let me address what you just said.
You will.
I just want to address it, bro. I'm not trying to be combative.
You did a lot of
talking. So let me address what you just said.
You did a lot of talking and I was quiet. Right now, I'm gonna talk and you could chill and then you get to come back and address it. So, argued. April 10th, I want to read this, 1967, decided yada, yada, yada. Reversed. This makes a race reclassification illegal and states that to do so are breaking the supreme law. That's disingenuous, first and foremost. He says, did you know that paper genociders with vital records offices along the east coast of the U.S. changed the race of many American Indians to colored on birth and death certificates in order to suppress Indian heritage, right? So everything that this brother is talking about, see, this read Dane Calloway-ish to me, because you got the truth in there, but then you got these interpretations reversed. This make the race reclassification illegal in states that to do so are breaking supreme law. What supreme law is he talking about? The case is just dealing with the fact that the one drop rule was basically wrong. It was wrong. His purpose, we could see the history and his purpose, and I broke that down earlier. His purpose was he didn't like the fact that Indians and blacks that were mixed, the children thereof were able to pass as Indians. And he wanted those children to be classified strictly as colored people, first and foremost, not the Indians. So what he's saying on this site, and what the pretendians say, and what Dane Calloway says, and what Big Chief Top Cap says about this reclassification is lies. It's cap. It's cap. Now you get to break whatever down you want to break down.
You got to unmute.
Now, what you have here, that definition you read is just a general definition. It does not speak to the members of tribes that intermarried with others. That's a general conversation. That's a general distinction between nations, right? Indian nations and other nations that aren't, right? It's not speaking to the nuances that a family like mine would have come from, which is the mixture of the two. People need to stop acting like I am not of African descent. Okay? I am a mixture of the two. We just culturally identify with Lenape. That's how it happens. It's many people in our community that genetically are more something else, but because they come from our community, they identify with being Lenape. Okay?
You ashamed of your African roots?
No, I'm not, bro. I'm the one that. What do you mean?
I'm just asking.
Everybody in the Aboriginal
website.
Let me speak for myself. Everybody in the Aboriginal community doesn't like Turtle Gang because Turtle Gang says we're all Homo sapiens sapiens, and Homo sapiens sapiens come from Africa. That's why they don't like me. They don't like me because I say we have African ancestry. We're not the original Indians. That's why they don't like me, because I don't lie to them. Now, let me speak about the Walter Plecker stuff. Everything you read about Walter Plecker is right. I'm not denying that. I introduced that information to people a long time ago. But what I want you to also understand is that Walter Plecker, you know who the first families that he targeted were? Who? Do you know any of the names of the first families? Because I got the document.
No. Who?
Okay, so I'm gonna give you one of the names of the first. Here's some of the names of the first families. See, here you go. Branham. You know what my last name is? Branham. You know what my father's side is? They're Monacan. So Walter Plecker literally has my family's name in a document right here. I will send it to you, bro. You see that?
That's not my point.
Yeah, but I think that the point that Naheem is making,
but that got nothing to do with me. He committed that on my people.
No doubt, but I think the point that he's making shouldn't get lost in that they weren't. He didn't reclassify Indians. He was reclassifying the children born out of these mixed relationships, an Indian person and an African person having a child, and not allowing that child who was mixed to be classified as an Indian, but calling them a Negro. And so I think
and that's who my family is a product of. That's what my family is a product of.
I get that.
He just verified everything that I just told you.
But listen, that was in a specific state of the United States. That was all of Walter Plecker didn't have jurisdiction to make those kind of claims all over the United States.
I'm not saying he did, but he set the standard. Just like a court case in California will set the standard for all the rest of the states. You know that. Okay.
So what other states were reclassifying from the time period? Let's look at it from Let's go from 1866. Right? No. Just say let's say 1866 onward. Other than no, but wait. From 1866 up to now, other than Walter Plecker in the state that he was in, what other states were mass reclassifying Indians?
Bro, that's not like what is like. I don't get this. What you have to understand is that Walter Plecker set the standard. Right, and this wasn't something that was on paper. It's called Like racism, when you walk in the store and the Chinese lady is like, hurry up and buy, that's not on paper.
Right, right.
That's like, so people were leaving areas because of what was going on, the phenomenon, not a law that's being passed, a phenomenon. People are getting their farms burnt down. Like my people had their farms burnt down. So we're not leaving because they codified it in a law. That comes later.
But if Walter Plecker set the standard,
bro,
he did that. But what I'm saying is, he did that. But no, I'm gonna let you go in. I'm just trying to respond to what you're saying.
Doing that, bro. Every time you try to make a point, he tries to talk over you and try
let me
to
just say
make
this.
his point.
Right? No, I want him to go in.
Crazy.
So if what I'm saying what you're saying, Walter Plecker set a standard in the year of 20 something. I don't remember what year it was.
1924. But race had been
in the
happening
state
long
that he was in.
before
But wait, let me finish making the point so that you know what I'm trying to say. He set the standard. He was doing something from a legislative perspective. If he's setting the standard, I'm asking you from the legislative perspective.
Legislatively, he set the standard, but that phenomenon had been happening for 200 years. They had been burning down.
So how did he set the standard then?
We didn't leave because Walter, listen, 1924, my people left in 1711 before Walter Plecker was alive. That phenomenon that Walter Plecker codified in a law already existed. My people left in 1711.
So how did he set the standard then? I don't get it. If it already existed,
on paper,
how did he?
The same way when California passes that bill, it's going to set the standard legally for all. It's called precedence. You know that.
Okay. Yes, I get that. But what I'm saying is, if he set a precedent a certain kind of way, who else did what he did? Who else did what he did after him?
The Loving case is overturned that.
That's not answering my question. That's not. I know about the Loving versus Virginia. I know about that. I'm saying that's not answering my question. I'm asking you specifically, if he set a precedent of doing something a specific kind of way, who else did what he did if he's the standard bearer?
You could go through all the states and check out the laws that they implemented. But what I'm trying to tell you, my people were being reclassified and leaving. Okay, so if it's not reclassified, whatever the case is, they were leaving because of oppression, because of racism, right? And oppression. They were leaving. That's a phenomenon. Now,
absolutely.
When it's
I think, but that's a distinction what you're making though, bro. Because you got to understand something.
Not because
them experiencing racism is not necessarily the same thing as a legislative act of reclassifying people from one race to another. That's not the same thing. That's why I was asking you who else did that. So go ahead, finish. Go ahead.
Why do you bro? You know we have.
I'm listening.
We have where it says,
dude want to just talk, and he don't want to listen at all because he think he's right and everybody else is wrong, even when he's getting proven wrong on certain things that he's talking about.
You haven't proven anything wrong, bro.
Man, I shut several things down that you said already, so you can't say I haven't.
What did you prove wrong?
I just broke your whole Indian thing down, where you tried to make your claim inclusive when you know that you were making a distinction earlier.
You're not talking about my people.
No.
He talked about Walter Plecker. How's he break?
Then you lied and said that this is not what you were doing because it's all one thing. So then I just read from your website, yo, you wrong, bro. You're wrong. That's why you're doing what you're doing. And I'm letting Ali go in because I'm listening to you. And if I have the conversation with you directly, it's just gonna be a battle. And because all I'm doing right now is just setting traps. And you're doing a good job of setting them yourself, and you're walking right into them. And then every time you realize, oh shit, I stepped into a trap, and somebody tries to call you on it, what you do is you try to overtalk them. You can pull up a book, and we don't know that book. That could be something that you publish. It looks like a folder. That's not vetted scholarship to us. I don't care about that.
He's gonna say all the vetted scholarship came from the civilized 5 tribes and they was traitors.
Nah, he ain't gonna.
But this is the issue.
Words in my mouth, bro. Like I'm right here. And he's telling me what I'm gonna say. This
is the issue. If Walter Plecker can set a standard,
bro.
Hold on. You don't even know where I'm going.
Where the fuck if he can being a friend of Walter Plecker? What are y'all doing? This is a strong.
That's not what I'm saying. If he can set a standard, but then when you get specific on something else, right? Oh, it's not my group. It doesn't apply to my group. So at one point it can be a standard set for all Native Americans, and then at another point it doesn't apply to his group.
Traps. I don't know. He's stepping in his own traps and don't even realize it.
We're not asking you to defend Walter Plecker. That's not what we're doing.
What is going on here? Like I came here to learn about.
Trying to do.
You don't know what's going on because every time somebody talks, you talk over them.
I don't care about Walter Plecker. To be honest with you, I really don't care about Walter Plecker because he doesn't have anything to do with what we're doing, right? And the only reason why he comes up is because people bring him up. And they try to make these broad sweeping generalizations.
Like how he has on his website, which doesn't specify, hold on, Ali, which doesn't specify his specific tribe. And
my website specifies my tribe. What are you talking about? See? My website.
Y'all see what he do, right? Y'all see what he does? Right. Yo, this is now, wait, hold on, Ali. Now I don't believe none of your claims. I don't need you to. I don't believe none of your claims.
I don't need you to, bro.
I know you don't. I know you don't, but you're here on BTP. So we might as well.
I want to finish.
So, Ali, I got you, Ali. I got you, bro. But right here, we have a secret. He's not talking about his tribe specifically. And when you try to lock down his tribe specifically, then he starts talking some broad stuff. When you start talking about broad stuff, he tries to lock down his tribe specifically. Now I'm calling cap on your whole everything. Everything. Well, I don't believe
prove it then, Lord.
I don't believe you. Man, I don't believe nothing.
Let me say this, right? Because I really listen. Like I said,
you're welcome to Lord Albert. Show and prove it.
Hold on a second.
I'm a rock, bro. I'm the rock they could not remove. Colonists couldn't do it. Motherfucking
Hold on
a second. Government
Turtle.
Couldn't do it.
But then you came here. And we
look, hold on.
I ain't come here for this, bro. I came to have a bill.
No. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
Ridiculous.
I'm not. Listen, I don't even care to argue with anybody, especially about their family ancestry. That's
Plecker. Now y'all telling me
but wait,
my people ain't who they say they are.
Deflection.
Hold on.
Studio, you a master deflector.
Can y'all mute out for 1 second while I'm saying what I'm saying? Just give me a second. I think that it's important that certain distinctions was made, right? And I believe that people need to hear those distinctions being made, right?
Mm-hmm.
The idea that this man, right, and I don't want to stay on him because that's not why we even got on here to talk, not to talk about Walter Plecker, but him being a standard bearer for racial reclassification, but then not being able to show specifically where other states did the same things that this man did as the standard bearer, but at the same time using incidents of racism. To me, it actually shows that there's a distinction being made, that people experience racism, but that the fact that they experience racism is being called reclassification. And I think that's a problematic thing, because if that's what the other pretendians are saying, that because certain Indian nations experience racism, that somehow that was the work of reclassification, I think that's a very serious error, and that needs to be corrected by people who actually understand the difference between racial reclassification or someone experiencing racism from white people. That's not the same thing at all.
Bro, listen to me. My people on the census records, on every record, are reclassified as, first of all, people of color, right? Then Negro, then Black. That's absolute reclassification, and there's nothing no one can say or do to change what has happened. You can say he didn't set a standard, then how did all of our records get misclassified as black, Negro, or colored?
Well, I'm going to tell you how my family got classified as black, Negro, or colored because they chose to identify by
Is it
that
a
name.
misclassification?
It's a misclass. Listen,
Right.
I know you got to be careful now because a lot of people don't like you saying black and Negro and colored are misnomers. They gonna get on you about that.
I don't care.
But look,
they're not nationalities.
hey, bro, come on, man. You know we already know what time it is with that.
Right.
But the thing is, right? What I'm saying is the reason that my family were called Negroes or colored people in the census because that's how they identified.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody makes, like, even today, people self-identify as black.
Okay.
On
well,
purpose,
my people
by
identified
choice.
as, we identified as black Lenape. That's how we identified.
But see, that's what I'm saying. This was by choice. You don't have to use black. You could simply use
black
Lenape.
is a description. See, it's not identity, it's description, describing the thing. Proper
Right,
English.
but
Black is a description.
It is an adjective, right? And
then.
I get that, but it's also a noun. You got to understand
I'm not using it as a noun, no. My intention
but
is what I put
That's crazy. That's crazy, man.
Black is not a noun, it's an adjective.
It is a noun. It's a noun.
No, it's not.
You can look it up. No,
I'm using it
understand what
as
you're
a
saying.
noun, as an adjective, as a descriptor. Because listen, when I tell people I'm Lenape, they go, but you're black. So we just would say we're black Lenape.
Do you do that on census records?
Huh?
Do you
No,
put black Lenape? You just put Lenape without black?
Yeah,
okay,
because that's just common, just talking to people. Because if I say to somebody, I'm Lenape, they think of regular looking Indians, and then they look at me crazy. And when I say, well, we black Lenape, they go, okay, I get it. It's just regular talk, bro. It's not a legal, see what I'm saying? It's not something that I would claim legally. Like, it's also an adjective. Pull up the definition of it being an adjective.
Yeah, we know it's an adjective.
We know that, but you just can't get out of your own way.
I didn't use it as an adjective.
You can't get out of your own way and just listen to what anybody is saying. You can't get out of your own way.
Please. It's a description.
Nah, we know it's an adjective.
Black
we know it's a description.
He said that it wasn't a noun. Wait a minute, Ali.
That's what you say
this is what he said. We let him know that we know that it's an adjective. And he didn't care to hear that because he doesn't want to hear anything anybody has to say.
No, he's saying that he didn't use it as a noun. He's saying he used it as an adjective. So as just a plain descriptor. But the fact of the matter is, it is when you say black Lenape as a description, your skin's not black, right? Far from it. No. Listen to what I'm saying, because we know you're not using it as a nationality, right? So if it is a description, then what about you is black that you're describing?
Bro, it's the same thing as when people say black power. We know we're not talking about skin color. Come on, bro. We don't have to play them games, bro. You know what I meant. It's a descriptive term. Like, come on, bro. Like, come on now. We way better than that, bro. That's old conversation.
So, bro, like, this is what I'm saying, man. Come on, bro. Come on. So when you say that you're a black Lenape
as an adjective, why are we still talking about it? I use it as an adjective. The same way we'll go.
So wait a minute. Hold on. So basically,
okay, Lord,
you don't understand.
What is it? You got me, Lord. You got me. Come on, you got me, Lord. Please. All right, I give up. You got me, bro.
Thank
you. Got
you can't win over here.
No, look,
I'm not who I say I am.
Abba, let me say something real quick. Black, when you're using it in the way that you're using it, is a racial. Hold on.
I used it as a. No, you can't tell me how.
So you're not. So you're saying. All right. So let me ask you this. You're
black
saying
Jordans. It's not racial. It's a description of the Jordans. Come
based
on, bro.
Based on his color. Based on his color.
Yes.
But are you black in color?
Of course.
So I know you're gonna say, all right. So then, what are you describing when you're saying that you're a black?
Y'all got me.
No, I'm asking you.
I'm using it in. Okay, so we have terms in English, right? Called denotative and connotative.
Yeah.
Do I have to say any more?
Well,
Denotated and
let me tell you
connotated.
what I mean when I say
Yeah,
black.
because he's using it to describe a group of people, so it definitely is a noun.
No, I use it to describe me.
Right.
I'm a
Okay. So
black
now look,
Lenape.
Which is
no
a
doubt.
person that makes it a
noun is
noun. That's what
Lenape.
nouns do.
The noun is Lenape. Black is the
No, no, no,
descriptor.
no. Black
Okay.
Monope, black and Monope is the noun.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
He's saying that
Black is the
Lenape is
description.
just a
And
name.
nouns
You don't.
describe person, places, or things. You're using it. It can have a double connotation, and that's what it
But
used
you're
for.
That's a
telling
You're
fact.
me
trying to
how I used
simplify
it.
the English
Why
language.
are you
You
telling
can't
me
do
how
that.
I used it as a adjective? Why are you telling me how I used it? Like,
Okay, it's being used as an adjective. But see
yeah,
that. But
like,
see,
why are we
I'm
having this
fine with that.
argument? This is
It's not no
low-hanging
argument.
fruit, bro. This
I
is
was just
fucking
asking a question. I was just
moron
asking the
shit, bro.
question, man. I was just asking the question because I didn't bring up black. You said that you was a black Lenape. I don't care about blackness. Me
Bro,
personally, I don't care about
all
blackness.
right,
So it's
bro. All
like
right. If that's what y'all want to get hung up on, fine. All right.
I'm
Like,
not. We can leave it alone. It's whatever.
I've gone through the history of my people. I've read you all types of information. I've showed you that I'm tied into a lot of things we talking about. Like, they've
believe a lot.
affected me directly.
I
Let's talk
believe a
about
lot of what you're saying. I'm
like,
not questioning your family
come on,
ancestry.
bro.
I'm in no position. None of us are in any position to question your family's ancestry at all. Let's just be honest, right? We can't do that because I don't know anything about your family. All I know is what you tell me, right?
Yeah, I
And what
wanted
you
to
tell
learn
us.
about what y'all was doing. I really did, bro. I really wanted to learn about
And
what y'all was doing and how I could support it. That's it. Like,
so
that's really it. I
what
didn't come here with no malice in my heart. That's word is bond. I told you I love you when I first came on here.
no
Like, what are we
doubt,
doing?
man. We love you too, bro. Like look, we just talking. And so what we're doing, right? Just to get off of that other stuff. What we're doing is pushing for reparative justice for our families. And I've described the families that we're talking about in particular. And it's not based on ethnicity, it's not based on race, it's based on having a lineage that links us to these particular people who had to endure the institution of Negro chattel slavery, whether they have Lenape ancestry, whether they have Yoruba ancestry, whether they have Cherokee or whether they have Hausa or Wolof. It doesn't. That's beside the point. What's that? I can't see it.
It says black is most commonly used as an adjective. Most commonly used as an adjective, but you can use it as a noun. So this is disingenuous. People trying to assert that I was using it as a noun. That's so disingenuous, and that's just like, this is why we have issues,
Come
bro.
on.
Like,
All right. So look.
crazy.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I know you trying to have a conversation, right? But this dude is trying to call us disingenuous while he's lying, right?
That move was disingenuous. That was disingenuous.
No, but wait, hold on. Let me
tell you. I never called y'all a liar. I never called anybody a liar.
Calling you disingenuous.
Never insulted anybody.
Hey, yo, can y'all mute out for a second? Just for a second.
Calling someone disingenuous is calling them a liar.
Hold on for a second.
It's calling them disingenuous. Should we
Okay,
look it up? Let's look
show.
and see if disingenuous and liar
All
mean
right,
the same thing.
all right, yeah,
Let's
look it up, and mute real quick. Let me say what happened. Let me say what happened and show you why we're not disingenuous.
I don't think you are. I think whoever was implying that was disingenuous, not you. Whoever's implying that I use black as a noun is being disingenuous, not everybody. Whoever implied that.
Understood. So what was said was, and I hope that you can admit to this, right? What was said is that black is not a noun. You said you use it as an adjective. It's not a noun.
No,
I say
yes. I did not say it's not a noun. Don't put word. I did not say it's not a noun. I said I used it as an adjective. And then I gave an example.
Okay.
Black Jordans. The subject is black.
I'm gonna leave it alone because I heard you say that. The
noun is black. Jordan is. Fine. I mean, the noun is Jordans, right? The description or adjective is black. That's it.
Right. No doubt.
Now, if you want to say I'm wrong for using black, you can say that. I should have said I'm copper colored or brown.
No.
Right?
No. I don't listen. You say what you want to say. That's on you. I was trying to talk about what we were doing reparations wise, but
not
so
candid
anyway,
or sincere. That's not lie. not candid or sincere. That doesn't mean you lie. It just means you're not sincere. Come on, man. Stop trying to find holes in my shit. I didn't say it was a noun. I said it was an adjective, and y'all still, like, I used it as an adjective. Black Lenape.
Okay. Oh, okay. And that's why I asked, do you do it in the sense that you said no? It's just Lenape. That was it for me. All right. Okay, cool. I'm good. I'm good.
Ali, let me do this, Ali. Because what I did, right, I went to disingenuous. And one of the things that happens when you pull up a word, they give you the synonyms for that word, right? And we see for disingenuous, there are several synonyms: dishonest, deceitful, underhanded, duplicitous, double dealing, two-faced, yada, 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 insincere, false, lying, untruthful. What happens when you click on lying? See, this is what happens when people don't read and they don't know the parts of speech.
If I wanted to say you're lying, I could have just said you're lying. I said
here's lying, right? And we see lying, and then what do we see in lying? Let's start at the second.
Yeah, you got to go all the way to the synonyms. It's not in the definition.
Underhand. And just saying that it means this thing. Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me, man. You got this what they teach. This what they taught you in the Lenape school. This is what y'all was taught in Lenape school.
Bro, what are you doing here?
I'm just saying, is this what you was taught? Now,
so you want to insult me now, Lord? I get it off.
Ad hominem?
No,
you've insulted my intelligence several times on this live stream.
No, I
You've insulted the intelligence of my audience. You just called me disingenuous. I don't feel no kind of way. I'm here to have the discussion.
Yes, it is deceptive.
Every time I bring up something, you start talking and doing what you're doing right now.
That's being disingenuous.
You do what you're doing right now. This
black as a noun. I use
played out debate tactic that you're doing right now.
That I did is being disingenuous. I don't know how you can fucking.
What you're doing right now is a old, played out, typical debate tactic. Is called the steamroller, whereas you only want your words to be heard because nobody else's words mean anything.
I don't want you to speak for me.
I'm not speaking for you.
You're burying
yourself with you're burying yourself with your own words, and you refuse to hear it.
Jesus.
Oh man. So I was trying to get into the reparations part, and you started talking about black again.
He went back into it.
I'm so disinterested right now, bro.
That's why I pulled up.
Bro, I'm so disinterested right now. I'm gonna be honest with you. Look, me and you had a conversation, bro. But right now, I don't want to hear it. Like, bro, I'm so disinterested. I really wanted to know what y'all had going on, but all this other shit. Like,
all right, I kicked him out the studio. Get up out of here, straight up. This dude is a liar. First and foremost, this dude is a liar. He posted some disrespectful content, and it was made to disparage American freedmen. He came on here and tried to flip it up, twist it up, etc., etc. But Ali caught him earlier. And he thought that he was going to come on here and then try to say, no, it wasn't like that. I'm just satirical, which we know is a lie because we did a video with him and that other hater, anti-reparationist Sharif Bay, right? And we broke their problematic words down where they was talking about trying to get a check and all of this nonsense. So you have a history and you have a pattern. The reason why we used the black thing was to highlight the fact that you keep switching up. You keep saying things that you said that you didn't say when we can just hear, everybody hears what you're saying. Everybody can hear what you're saying. So you said that you don't mean Lenape, black Lenape, in a descriptive way while saying you do mean it in a descriptive way because people won't just understand Lenape. And then you brought up, if I had black J's, that wouldn't be the same thing as saying I'm a black Lenape, which is what the point that Ali was trying to make when he spoke about the definition of black being broken down into an adjective and broken down into a noun. Point blank, period. So what I was pulling up was the image of the, y'all know this image that I use, the black man, right? Because this guy, if he was Lenape, technically, if you're not going to use it as a noun, would be a black Lenape. Because then this is just a descriptive. This is just an adjective, right? But being that black is also a noun in the American English dictionary, you can't just flip-flop at will and act like you don't know the parts of speech, and you don't know what verbs and adverbs and nouns and pronouns, etc. are anymore.
Black and copper doesn't have the same history in the English lexicon. So if you was to say copper color, which he said later, he would be correct. But you can't use that for black or white, yellow, and a few other colors because they've been used as nouns to describe groups of people historically. The other thing is, man, like most of his conversation is geared to the 5 civilized tribes. That's what it seems like the disconnect comes from with a lot of the pretendians and black Indians. They keep coming over to our space trying to teach our history. It's the same thing black celebrities do, right? Especially those black celebrities who don't acknowledge being black until they get in trouble and then want to harvest the energy and the resources of the black community. I'm black now. And that's what he's doing. He's like fence sitting. And he's saying, like, I'm Native American, I'm part of the monopoly. But then, before y'all get reparations, if y'all get the land, y'all should acknowledge who was on the land. Man, we don't care about you Confederates and what you Confederates had going on and how y'all got expelled up out of y'all tribe. And the important thing is being monopoly is not consequential to this man's life. It's the fact that he's an American freedman.
That's right.
So they confused. And if you want your story to be the main narrative, then you need to have a bigger microphone and be able to push that story. Y'all didn't win. Y'all need to do the work to win. Like we doing the work to win.
Ibrahim, it's not y'all because he's not connected to the losers. He's not connected to anything out. That's what I was saying. Like, this shit is confusing. This is
Monopolies are the losers. And that's why he kept saying, that's not our story. But that's the broad general story that's taught in America. Because your story, you lost and your narrative got changed or they just wiped it away. So the Cherokee and the Chickasaw and them, they get to set the standard for what Native American is. The monopoly lost.
He didn't want you to say that though, Ibrahim.
No, and that's why he kept cutting me out. Like y'all lost. Y'all are the losers. But don't try to come and create some misconstrued bad relationship with the American freedman who as a bottom caste has always been able to create the narrative. We've always been able to say, no, this is what our history is and our story is. You know what I'm saying? You're not able to do that in the community that you tie yourself to. It's not your group. It's the group that you claim are the traitors. And to sit there and say what happened in one region of the country doesn't affect the other region of the country, it's a goddamn lie. That's like me saying what happened to American freedmen in Southwest America doesn't impact what happened to the freedmen in Northeast America or Southeast America. Like, come on, man. That's not even how America works, man. That's not like, I don't know what type of like, is any pretending like serious and really ready to have a serious conversation? I mean, did y'all even check out the body language anytime he wasn't talking? Like, man, I'm so disinterested in like really having this conversation. Yeah. I just want to teach. I'm gonna sit here slumped over like my 6-year-old son when I'm telling him something important that he don't want to hear because he feel like he knows everything at 6-year-old. Like that's the same body language this person was exerting. Like, is there anybody mature enough to understand like how to have a mature conversation?
Let me say, Ibrahim, I'm glad it was Ali earlier, first and foremost, and not me. Because, you know, I can be very diplomatic when I want to. But I know these people. That's why I mentioned Sharif Bay. That's why Sharif Bay has been one of those condescending, look down on our type of people since I met him. That's why I question his lineage now, right? When we get into this and we start to look at all of the people who are haters and are against reparations. And I was battling with guys like that, like Sharif Bay, when I was a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America. He was an anti-reparationist, and he still is. And we heard that in the video. We heard that in the video that we did. And I'm going to put a link to that in the inbox for everybody that did not see it. These people, like this Turtle Gang dude, like the body butter plug person, these people view themselves as exotic Negroes. Remember Grimm was breaking that down? They think that they're exotic because they're not a part of the American freedmen, because we've been taught that it was a shame to, even be connected to slavery because we weren't fully aware of our history. Then BTP comes along and we start pulling this American freedmen thing together, and we start elevating these hidden elements of our history. We start elevating what Robert Smalls did by stealing that Confederate ship after escaping slavery, sailing it to the Union, then going back and help to defeat the South. We elevate people like Prince Rivers, who was not, I believe, not only a general, and I don't know if he was a general. I could look that up real quick. I got the bloody shirt right here. But he also became, I believe, a mayor in Hamburg or a justice or something like that. He was a superhero. So when you hear the African guy that lives in Texas, the rap dude that says, oh, y'all thought I was regular black. No, you are regular black. We're the superheroes over here. We are actually the exotic Negroes over here. And how do we know that? Because it is our culture that they are trying to emulate. Let me show y'all on his website, right? Let me show y'all something. Because this ain't what he's promoting and what he's trying to sell. This stuff was made popular through us rocking it and how we rocked it. Let me show y'all. The Turtle Gang guy. These hoodies and stuff like that he's selling with these designs, we did that. American freedmen did that. We started spray painting hoodies and spray painting jean jackets up in New York, and that spread across the country. We were the ones that did that. This ain't no, the Lenape wasn't doing that. They were running around with little kilts on with their ass cheeks out and bows and arrows and stuff. Like, let's keep it official. Let's keep it official.
If you so tied into your culture, shouldn't you be selling that?
That's right.
You whitewashing your own culture, selling American freedmen gear. That's our attire.
That's right. That's right. Like, we're not ashamed of our slave ancestry because we know that it's what makes us superheroes. We know that it's what puts us ahead of the pack, and everybody wants to be like us. And we know that the powers that be want to keep us down because they know once we get that power, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. And so they gotta do oppressive things via legislation and their financial institutions through the history of this country up until present day so that they can feel superior. And that is the attitude you got from this Turtle Gang guy. You don't talk when I'm talking. You let me talk is what how he was coming across on this platform, but that don't play here. Ain't no white supremacist going to do it here. Ain't no pretending going to do it here. Ain't no, if you got some Indian in your family, going to do it here. Ain't no ain't nobody going to do it here. Point blank, period. So this is what it is, and I want to call it for what it is. I want to call it for what it is. I'm on my no more Mr. Nice Guy stuff right now. It's just, it is what it is. I'm on my no more Mr. Nice Guy stuff right now. Let's call these frauds out because all of these people are in the way. And the reason why he put that up is because they know that it's becoming a reality, this reparations push. And the people that are against the reparative justice that we are owed, we're owed this. They know that once we get in the position, they can't look down on us anymore. This Turtle Gang guy is somebody that looks down on us. That's why. What did the post say, Ali? That he made on the Instagram post about niggas that do anything for a check or something like that.
Yeah, it was something like that. Hold
something
on,
like that.
Let me see if I could get it. Let me see if I could screenshot it.
And these, like we got to be real, fam, and we got to call these people out. We got to call these people out, man. Straight up. We got to call them out.
And then come on here and say, no, it's all love. It's all love. Right. Y'all just don't understand me. I'm intellectually superior than y'all, even though I can't define what a synonym is or what a noun is. I'm intellectually superior.
That's right.
Y'all just don't understand me. Even the stuff that I wrote on my own darn website, you interpreting it wrong. Let me interpret it for. Nah, how about you go back and rewrite it so it means what you think it means? How about that?
That's right.
See? Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I got something.
We just want a handout. That's Negro mentality.
Did y'all hear that? Was y'all able to hear that?
Yeah, it went through.
Okay. So, all right, let me bring that back. This is Sharif Bay. He's a hater. This dude is a hater. He's been an anti-reparationist for as long as I've known him. He told me during conversations about this form of psychology he practices. Think about what you just said, Ibrahim. This dude said it's like when you have a dog. He said you could rub the dog's belly while talking to it nice, but saying the most disrespectful stuff. Fuck you, you little dog, you dirty little mountain, while rubbing its belly. And it thinks that you can't employ those tactics over there. And he was one of those dudes that was mad that he could never employ it with me. And we just gonna call these people out. And that's why they're having the conversation. This dude, Turtle Gang, ain't coming to learn. That's why he want to talk. And over talk. Let's play this. That's right. All right, let's go back to this.
Even if you got the land. Mm-hmm. How about that? Because if we really, really, really believe that, we'd be about the business of preparing ourselves to get it.
Those are the eyes of a manipulator right there, fam. Let's just be real. Listen to what he's saying. Even so, the conversation at this point is about land, right? So remember, it's always something, right? Remember what Umar said? Even if we got this amount or that amount, we'd blow it in 2 days. When you hear that language, even if, that you just heard from Sharif, what they're saying is y'all are incompetent. Y'all are incompetent. Mm-hmm. These are the people that look down upon us, fam.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that really.
We just want a handout.
Oh, I just wanted to play that one part.
All right, go ahead.
Just right here, Ali. That's right. All right, let's go back. Let me just play because I want people to hear this part. And then
even
go
if
in.
You got the land.
Even if.
How about that? Because if we really, really, really believe that, we'd be about the business of preparing ourselves to get it. See? Mm-hmm. We just want a handout. That's Negro mentality.
They just want handouts. That's Negro mentality. This is this guy's views that he held when I was debating him 10 years ago in the Moorish Science Temple of America. They obviously have not changed, obviously, right? So let me see. Oh, go ahead, Ali, because I'm about to pull this up. Oh, yeah.
The screen I sent the
Yeah.
screenshot of what precipitated. I mean, this is what started the conversation in the first place. So yeah, what I was gonna say is I think that I don't like the fact that what certain people try to do is usurp or to misappropriate the history of those of us who had to live the life and the existence of so-called blacks, of those of us of African ancestry who had to live the life and bear the burdens and the consequences of blackness in this country, but then try to usurp it and say that it's Indian history. I don't like that. I don't like that. And many of these people are doing that in the pretendian world. Many of these people are doing that. Don't like it. That's very disrespectful, and the idea that, somehow we're not owed justice is disrespectful as well. And that's one of the things that Dane Calloway dude likes to push.
Yo, Ali, please read his comment, bro, and your response.
It's kind of small on my end.
All right, I can read it. I'll read it. So the Turtle Gang guy, this guy that I just kicked off the channel with his lion ass, he said, I hope everyone gets their domestic checks. Now this is in response to what's happening in California. Because the exotic Negroes, right, the ones that think that they're exotic, they gotta make sure, they're hoping that we don't get anything because they like to wag their fingers at us. You heard Sharif Bay in that clip. They want handouts. That's Negro mentality. Man, if you don't shut your ass up. Anyway, we fighting for freedom as nations. So here is the distinction again that he tried to say didn't exist while making distinctions the whole time. Then I pulled it right up on his website and I caught him. See, Ali was having a conversation with him and I was just sitting here because I'm here. I wanted to do battle. I'm just going to keep it official. This dude speaks with a forked tongue. But he's making a distinction here. We're fighting for freedom as nations. And this is what he said in that video conversation that he was speaking when he was speaking to Sharif. He said, but a win is a win. I hope they get their government payoff. Not, I hope the American freedmen. Now, I want you all to pay attention. Not that I hope the American freedmen receive the debt that's owed to them for the generations of harms that have accumulated and that they still go through this day. But there are key words here, one in particular. I hope they get their government payoff.
Not we.
Not we. He said, but once you get it, you heard it, Ibrahim? Once you get it, you can't complain anymore. You can't come over here, Turtle Gang, with that nonsense, bro.
That was the same message he was trying to convey when he implied
that's right.
We talk to the American government as equals, like they Russia or China. He didn't say, you know what I'm saying? He's just speaking for the monopoly, even though that's a lie, but finish up.
That's right. He then said, it's called being paid off. And Mr. Smart Guy is PAID. It's PAID, not PAYED. The people enslaved deserved that money. So and then what are you talking about?
That implies
that's he's being like his ancestors. That's a historically Confederate point of view.
He then said, niggas will do anything to get a better seat on the slave ship. So you see, I want to go back right here, right? Because this fork-tongued liar came on here and spoke in fork-tongue the whole night. But peep this, the people enslaved deserved that money, right? niggas will do anything to get a better seat on the slave ship. First and foremost, the people enslaved didn't get the money. That's why we're fighting now. Then for him to say niggas will do anything to get a better seat on the slave ship implies that the fact that we're fighting for what we never got means that we're gonna go sit ourselves on a slave ship.
Or that America, I think you muted Naheem. I think what he was trying to say is that the United States of America is the slave ship. That's what he's trying to say.
Basically.
And right, and that we're looking for a better seat at the slave ship as opposed to fighting for sovereignty and independence from the United States. That's what I think the implication is there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because he, like the rest of the pretendians, because I'm calling cap on everything now. I heard enough to call cap. I'm not going to question nobody's bloodline because I don't know if this dude is mixed with whatever. Like I said, we done had some builds back in the days, but the way he was relaying his information today, I'm just calling cap. I don't believe you no more, bro. But let me read Ali's response. He said, bro, stop that. This is disrespectful to our plight as American freedmen families. If you're not a part of those families, then us exercising our right to petition the government we pay taxes to for redress of our specific grievances doesn't even concern you. I don't understand why people who are not us feel the need to try to tell us what we should or should not be doing or trying to disrespect our fight for justice. The intellectual, accurate response to this liar and his hate, this exotic Negro. And we got these people in our midst. We brought a sister on here, Body Butter Plug. What was her name? Noon? What was her name?
I don't know. I don't even remember
her name. Her, man, I'll pull a video up. Straight up. Let me stop sharing. We brought this sister on, right? And I started to notice problematic tweets coming from. I ignored the first couple. Then she was sharing a clip from this dude named Pan-Africanist Strike Back, some other Pan-African hater, right? And this dude was having a discussion with some people. One of them sound like a straight European to me that said that we need to be replaced.
I remember that.
By the tethers. That was the word they used because we don't use that. We don't use that over here. So this is the sister that we had on. Let me see if I could get a more close up. I want people to. Let me see. And this dude that's her cousin, the Ian dude, if I'm not mistaken, this was the same guy that we was debating with on a Twitter thread. Because I remember them by his arguments. I remember them by his arguments. So I pressed the sister, and I'm like, "Yo, sis, what is this? This dude is talking about the American freedmen need to be replaced by immigrants." She said, "Yeah." She agreed with that. This is that exotic Negro complex my brother Grimm be talking about. No more, fam. No more. Like I'm on my no more Mr. Nice Guy stuff right now. And I'm calling all of these people out. Every last one of them. Every last one of them. Point blank, period. We fighting to raise our people up. We showed the statistics that showed that once cash infusions go into impoverished areas, crime drastically reduces. Mental health improve. Mental health improvements was shown with people just getting an extra $500 a month. And you got these exotic Negroes talking about other people need to come from another continent to replace us. You got this Pan-African Strike Back guy. See, these guys don't want to have no debates. I mean, Ben called this guy out. Yeah, I heard about that. I heard my sis Morgan had to get at her for that. And I'm using her as an example because when you look at her and you look at and listen to that nonsense and you listen to people like this Turtle Gang dude, notice he tried to take up for legendary Chief Top Cap. He tried to take up for him. And I sat there and I listened. And I'm like, is this dude really trying to take up for Top Cap? That was probably the third or fourth red flag that I peeped and tried to make it seem like, no, this dude said he was an Alabama Kushada. And we
came up with a whole criteria of why you can't fact check it.
That's
too.
Right. He freestyled that. Straight freestyle. I'm like, red flag. Then, then when I brought up the fact that somebody gave me, like somebody that knows this dude personally, sent me the Fed case that this dude caught, sent me pictures of this dude. He wasn't in no Indian gear. He wasn't practicing no Indian stuff. I just chose not to put it out there. But I could if I wanted to. Notice how he backtracked. I don't know if y'all peeped that, but he backtracked. He backtracked. It's like, this dude ain't no Indian. He came on talk about he was of the Tamiqua tribe, which he was mispronouncing.
That's what I was trying to remember, the Tamiqua people. That's what he started out talking about. He ain't saying nothing about no goddamn Kawasaki or Kushada in the beginning. He was talking about them Florida, what do they call them? Tamiquas, the Tamiquas. Remember that shit?
That's right. They was clowning them. People was changing their name on Twitter. I'm from the tribe of Tamika.
Yeah.
Hey, clown. Like, come on, family. Like, we're doing this to help expose the damaged psychology of our people and the fact that they hate themselves. And even if that brother has some Lenape in him, right? And I'm not going to 100% doubt it. I'm not going to 100% doubt it, but now I'm just calling cap. He still suffers from exotic Negro syndrome, where he looks down on us because he thinks he's superior, not realizing that the American freedmen are the greatest people on the planet. And those of us that have the resolve, we step up. We don't find escape hatches and Photoshop images of Indian feathers on our head and run around claiming the culture of another people. I called the Alabama Kushada people. I asked, was whatever Top Cap's grandmother name was she ever a chief? Because that's what he said. Now you get this liar, this Turtle Gang liar, right? Comes up here and try to make it seem like, nah, you called these different people. Well, then those people would have told me, well, there are other groups. There are other groups that the guy specifically told me, we have this problem where people try to connect themselves to our tribe falsely, yada, yada, yada. I said, so do you have blacks in your tribe? He said, yes, but they're here through marriage. He said, we trace our ancestry back to this land. I don't know if he said thousands or hundreds and hundreds of years. I can't remember. It was some months back. I called them. I put the number out on Twitter because I got to the point where I was like, you know what? Stop elevating this clown, because he's not doing nothing but getting props off of my name and off of the name of BTP. So I just fell back and I let it go. Let him go ahead. They pulled up some fake stuff with this dude, Amani Bay, who I know. Like, this dude went to Japan, married Japanese women, all of these self-hating Negroes, right? I know this dude. I know him.
Yeah, Monty Bay is one of them. He's one of them self-hating niggas too.
Them Taj Tariqites.
Yeah, man.
Clowns. I looked at that crap. I was like, man, if I want to, I could respond. I'm just not even gonna do it. It's just, because I don't want to elevate these people But right now, everybody needs to be put in the ringer. All of this stuff needs to be destroyed. These people are trying to interfere, family. There was no reason for this Turtle Gang clown to put that stuff up and tweet it, and for Ali to respond to him if he didn't feel exactly how I'm describing this type of people with exotic Negro syndrome.
And then try to come on here and say, "Oh no, that's I didn't mean you Negroes. I meant the niggers. I'm talking about the niggers that's in the way." Come on, man. These people are these are some liars, man. I'm just watching him lie and backpedal the whole night. He came on there. He tried to break y'all defense down by giving some fake praise and stuff. Oh yeah, I know y'all brothers.
Lord Abba.
I came.
so now he knows he got to do some battle. That's why he's specifically adversarial towards me, because he know I'm about to start cooking him up. Y'all peep that? I'm just sitting here and I'm like, let me let them talk. let me let them talk. Let them talk, man. You know, but yeah, so it is what it is. You know, people don't like Lord Abba. It is what it is.
And they mentioned something in the you know, and I think I definitely heard him say it too, like we're not subjects. You know, the fact that, and what I wanted to ask him was, are you trying to say that the United States government does not have, Congress specifically does not have plenary power over the Lenape? Is that what you're saying when you're saying you're not subject? Because the fact of the matter is, we already talked about it. Me and Derek actually talked about it. I think I don't know if we were on the phone or if it was in a Twitter space or something. We talked about the 1924 Indian Citizenship Act that made all of these Indians citizens of the United States. Derek, you could correct me. I don't remember where we were talking about it at, but I remember we were talking about that.
Yeah, I mean, these people, man, you know, it's getting to the point where it's a distraction. The obstructionists are rearing their ugly head. And I think that it's a part of our job at BTP to point that out. And some people view it as toxic. Some people view it, but to me, it's necessary. That's why y'all notice certain people who ain't never come on this platform. And we was always cool with that, because we're going to do what we do, and we're going to talk our talk. Because, and I'll use John Brown as an example. John Brown said, I know my people, and all they know is violence. And I will meet them in the language that they know. And that's what John Brown did. Point blank, period. And so when you're dealing with this faction of our people, you got to meet them where they are. And it's going to be adversarial. There's not going to be diplomacy. And sometimes there's diplomatic conversation. Sometimes you got to punch somebody in their mouth. Sometimes you got to punch somebody and be diplomatic at the same time. Like, look, dog, if you wouldn't have did what you did, I wouldn't have punched you in your mouth. You okay? Take this tissue. So Ogun Amaro G said, not all Aboriginals are against reparations. Y'all need to know that. I don't know, because I don't know what the Pew Research poll says about Aboriginals and Indigenous. I don't know if they sampled those people in that particular poll. If you mean that you are an Aboriginal, brother, I mean, again, I'm just calling cap, man, until anybody can prove this stuff that they're saying. I'm just calling cap.
Not all can mean 99%. What we want to happen is for those who disagree just to shut the fuck up.
Shut your ass up. That's all. And why is it you? Why is it the ones that look like us? Ali made excellent point that he brought up, bringing up that Native American woman that said, every time our people, the American freedmen, let me paraphrase a little bit, talk about reparations, y'all always throw my people in it. The Indians, we got reparations. Many of our tribes got reparations. The Cherokee Nation makes millions and billions of dollars a year, and they take that money and they help other tribes. While he was talking, I brought up the Catawba. I wanted to see if he was going to speak on the Catawba, the slave catchers.
Right, in South Carolina.
In South Carolina. He skipped that. I didn't hold him to it. I just noticed it. Like, he's not going to speak on that. I wonder if this is his first time seeing the Catawba, or if, or you know what I'm saying, seeing that name, the Catawba, as the slave catchers they were, or if he knows it and he doesn't want to speak to it because, well, what you going to say? That no, brother, those Catawba is not the same as the Catawba that was capturing slaves. You got to go with the Mpunku Catawbas. The Mpunku Catawbas wasn't slave catchers, bro. He would have just freestyled some stuff.
No, he would have. Them ain't my people. They was from the southern shore.
Well, the point I'm making also, brother, is that he's trying to protect them. He's trying to protect them. It was like the claims that Top Cap was making about John Ross being this Irish mixed Cherokee, and him being the head of that tribe for however long he was the head. The part that he failed to mention, and they all failed to mention, is that the people that he led were still largely 100% full-blood Native American. They don't want to bring that part up. They want you to focus on the distraction because they want to run interference for people that don't even look like them so that they could falsely claim these people's culture, heritage, and lineage. What y'all putting in them peace pipes, fam? Is it hard and off-white?
I'm calling Cap because every time you try to tie him to some type of historical record that's documented, he tries to weasel his way out of there by saying, "Nah, that's the traitors. That's not us." And why would you listen to the traitor? I don't know what type of manuscript he got copied at Kinko's or something, right? He doesn't even mention a book. He just keeps going back to that manuscript. We don't do that over here. And who are you to say you don't need to read? I'm gonna tell you. Like, who is you, Black Jesus, nigga? Like, come on, man. You don't need to read. That's anti-intellectual. You don't need to read. I'm gonna tell you. Just listen to what I tell you. Like, that's some pimp shit. That's how you get in a coat. You don't need to read. I'm gonna tell you what you need to know. That's disingenuous. Even if you don't know what disingenuous means, that's disingenuous.
But it's also insulting because it does. What you're doing is you're questioning someone's capacity to comprehend what it is that they're reading or their research abilities. You can't do that. You can't do that. It's not going to be received
even when they reading from your writing, even when it's coming from your website. Oh, you interpreting it wrong. Stop reading. Let me tell you what it means.
I read from this man's own website. I proved the point that I was making about the distinction. You know, fam, I mean, we could have jumped off this thing a minute ago, but I wanted to stay on and talk a little bit because I want our people to be aware. And at some point, for the pretendians that's listening in, and they're listening, at some point, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and realize that you're lying to yourself. I'm pretty certain you go to bed every night knowing that you're lying. You know it. And you wake up every single day and you have to remind yourself that you're lying. None of your peoples are gonna, that's why I brought up the fact that somebody that knows Top Cap personally hit me up. Personally. I could go in on that dude if I want to, but I'm not. He's irrelevant. He's irrelevant. And the fact that y'all are trying to wedge yourselves into our justice fight with this BS, or let me say wedge this BS, because y'all are American freedmen. And y'all know that y'all are. Y'all know that y'all are. But you want to be something else. That's why we are suggesting that when this thing starts moving, waiver forms are going to be produced. And if you feel that you don't want reparations for a myriad of reasons, that's old, based on not only the enslavement of your ancestors, but the 100 times worse afflictions that we went through thereafter, then we're going to urge you to sign that waiver and state your reason. And I want to see if any of these pretend, because this thing is going to happen. I want to see if any of these pretendians are going to say no because I'm not an American freedman. You know what I started to notice, Ali and Ibrahim, the more deeper we got into the scholarship of this freedman thing, is that the pretendians started to say, well, I found a freedman in my bloodline. I got freedmen in my paperwork. I was able to find a freedman. So I know I got that too. Wait a minute. You got that, but you don't want to claim it. You fight against it. You hold spaces with titles being adverse to it, like Native versus Freedmen. Remember that? That set off the whole beef with Secure the Tribe. Secure the Tribe. Which tribe? Which tribe? Which tribe?
Yeah.
All of you people from different regions lying to yourselves. You're lying to yourselves every day and every single night. My bad, Ali, you was going to say something? Yeah, so.
None of them connected either.
No. They connect in Twitter Spaces. They connect on Twitter Spaces. And
I want to see him sign that reparation waiver and say, I don't need it because I don't take handouts. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. If somebody like Turtle Gang qualifies, or Sharif Bay, I want to see that waiver form. If somebody like a Sharif Bay or the Turtle Gang brother qualifies, I would love to see that waiver form. Government owes us money. Noble Drew Ali himself said that one day the European is going to pay off for the work that our ancestors did in slavery and pay off in compounded interest. There's a whole book dedicated to that quote called From Here to Equality. I got a bunch of them around. There's a whole book dedicated to that one quote by Noble Drew Ali. That one day the Europeans are going to have to pay off for the works that our ancestors did in slavery and pay off in compounded interest. That ain't no religious stuff. That ain't no ideological stuff. That's a fact. And there's a whole book dedicated to breaking down the history and the how of it, how it will be done. I don't know, man. Ali, you got anything else you want to add? Because I could keep talking. I'm just in in the talk mode right now. I could just keep going. Word. I don't even know if Ali is connected right now. Yep, he's not connected. So, fam, man, you know, we had this Turtle Gang brother on, and this brother came up here and was clearly lying, as y'all heard. He was caught in so many different lies. He didn't want to hear anything anybody was saying so that we could just have a respectable volley. And when I peep stuff like that, I'm already aware of what this individual, any type of individual like that, is actually trying to do. I'm already aware. It's like, artful dodger.
My bad, man. I got in the car, so I was trying to link up the Bluetooth to the car. It's bugging out.
Oh no, definitely. You had anything you want to share before we get off here, bro?
Man. Yeah, I think that some important things came out. One of the things that I think came out, and I hope people was able to take away, was that all of that talk about ethnic backgrounds doesn't really mean, it doesn't have any bearing on what it is that we're talking about. And I think that what's being done is the fact that people don't really understand from a legal perspective what's taking place and how we're trying to move forward. So that our people are so used to having conversations based on colors and stuff like that, right? You're brown, you're black, you're blue, you're red, you're yellow, you're orange, you're green, you're all of these things, right? So our folks are so used to having these kinds of conversations from that perspective that it's very hard for them to make the adjustment when it's time to. So even when Erwin Chemerinsky or someone like that is telling you, look, we can't do it that way, they insist, in spite of that, on having arguments about the very thing that it has been told to them will cause the type of pushback that you really don't want from a legal perspective. They still want to continue arguing about that. And so I think that even with this conversation with him tonight, we was able to see that, because he even in saying that he wanted to learn about reparations, he dived right into the whole American Indian history as if that has some kind of relevance to what we're talking about. It absolutely does not. It doesn't. All of the various bands of the different tribes of Indians, none of that matters, because really all you're talking about.
But I came to learn, brother. I came to learn from y'all brothers.
Right. But all you're talking about is ethnic groups and ethnic backgrounds. If let me tell you something. If Kawasati matters, then so does Yoruba. If Munsi and Lenape matters, then so does Wolof and Hausa. You can't have it one way or the other, right? You can't just be like, well, this matters. Well then, if that's the case, if it matters for our reparations claim, then so do those other things that are part of our ancestry. Yoruba matters too. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start muddying the waters with a whole shitload. And trust me, there's a whole shitload of ethnic names that's in our backgrounds. There's a whole shitload of them things, from the European ones to the African ones to the Native American ones. That don't matter. And so I'm hoping that people really take away, and I'm so glad that Brother Chad responded on Twitter to something that was put up about what Dawn was saying, and Dawn was saying that the Indians is going to be included in the
I don't know what Dawn is talking about with that nonsense. I don't know what the hell Dawn was talking about.
Like I said, I'm so glad Chad responded to that with the actual breakdown of who the eligible recipients would be and based on the criteria. So it's just like there's people for whatever the reason, and and like I said, I believe it's a thing of oh shoot. Man, that was close. Hold up. Yeah, 5-0 coming through.
You thought they was pulling you? Hold on.
Nah, I ain't driving dirty or nothing. But nah, they was coming through the intersection and somebody was coming across. I was hoping it wasn't going to meet up in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I just think our folks are so used to they so used to having these conversations about race that it's hard for them to pivot when the time is necessary. And we're at a time where it's necessary to pivot in many instances from race to status and ancestry. We gotta be able to do that. Gotta be able to do that.
Yeah, and I want to just pull up Brother Chad's tweet real quick before we get off of here. Because this was in response to something that Dawn was saying about
people are not cut out. That's all I care about.
Well, I'm not gonna play it. I'm not, because I don't want to hear that nonsense, because it's nonsense. But this is what Chad tweeted. For reference, here is the lineage standard approved by the AB 3121 California Reparations Task Force. I want to read the hashtags as well. Hashtag California, hashtag blueprinting. I loved that one. Yep. Hashtag reparations. And let's read. Motion. Define the community of eligibility based on lineage determined by an individual being an African American descendant of a chattel enslaved person or the descendant of a free black person living in the U.S. prior to the end of the 19th century. That is the eligibility. Wow. That's the eligibility. Nothing to do with no pretendianism. Pretendians will not be a part of this claim. Dawn, if you're listening, and I know you are, and if you're not, I know you will, stop saying that, because you're putting batteries in the backs of these people who think that this fake stuff that they're pushing is going to be relevant in what we're trying to do. It's part of the reason why they felt that they could pull up to the California Reparations Task Force. And if you think that what we're saying is wrong, you know how we give it up. We'll send you a link. And then you get to come on. I know I'm going to have to mute you 1,000 times, but you get to come on and try to show and prove. And I bet you $500 you can't. That's on Everything I Love. I'll cash app you $500 if you could show and prove that nonsense. Because the eligibility standard is there.
It's already there.
Ain't nobody redefining anything. My bad. Go ahead, bro.
It's not going to change because of your personal ancestry. Like, you know, that's so anecdotal. And like, why would you think that that's what's going on inside of your particular family is representative of the entire group? Like, you're not a representative of the group. Like, what are you talking about?
The tribe of
what
we.
What are you talking about? Yeah.
It's the tribe of we.
Right. It's all this we stuff and we and us and we was this and we was that and we was kings and we was queens and like, yo, stop that, man. Stop. Everybody wasn't no king, and everybody most people weren't kings and most people were not queens. So just stop it.
There was just regular, everyday people living their everyday lives before their lives got disrupted by Europeans looking for free labor and our ancestors getting kicked off the continent of Africa. Yeah. That's another part of what they're trying to deny, Ali, that African part. Remember, we had to clean them up on that.
Yeah, I don't know why they are doing that. Well, and then when you acknowledge African ancestry, they start telling you that you're an African and you're an immigrant and you're this and you're. And nobody said that we was Africans, dude. They try to do that with Camilla Moore because she's acknowledging the African ancestry in the people and the fact that the term African American was used earlier than most people know. Oh, she's an African tether. Now she's an African tether. It's like, man, you know what? it's, I know, you know, we talk about rebellious children, but this shit to me goes beyond rebellious children into retardation, in my opinion.
Smart tardy.
Yep.
They're smart tardy.
Smart tarded nigga monsters, man.
Shout out to Sister Buffalo. That's just gonna be my word from now on. Smart tardy. Smart tardy. So man, look, we're gonna start winding this thing down. To all you pretendians and all of you exotic Negroes, y'all gonna get this smoke. Y'all are gonna get this smoke because y'all are trying to step up and help these white supremacists.
Ridicule.
Yeah, he got me hyped, brother Derek, because I was trying to chill. And I know my brother Ali was trying to have a good. I seen what Ali was doing, walking them into certain traps. And we know each other's debate styles and debate tactics. I just, you know, Ali was kind of trying to kill him with the scalpel, 1,000 cuts. I just wanted to take, you know, how Thor just chopped Thanos' head off on that last. Like all this talking, man. Cut his head off and then kick it. Cut his head off and then kick it. That's what I wanted to do. But I sat here, you know, I listen. It is what it is, man. But the more I listen, the more I'm starting to call cap on this dude. I'll tell you that. That's right, Sister Riri. They could fall back. We do not need them. They could do a separate claim. I'm done. And I'll get back to the point where I stop addressing these people. I actually want them to address me. That's why I'm gonna, you know, keep nudging them. I want them to address me. You know why? Because they cannot address us. They just directed at me.
You know what else?
Mm-hmm.
You know what else was good that came out? That stuff about Walter Plecker. And I like the fact that he attempted to use racism as a proxy for reclassification. And when those are not the same things, it is not a proxy for reclassification to experience racism. Like, you know, and so I'm like, if that's what these people are calling reclassification, the fact that they experienced racism and had to move from one part of the country to another, like shit, we did that, but through the so-called Great Migration, we had to move from one section of the country to the other too, based on fleeing from racial terrorism and all of that. But that's not the same thing as racial reclassification. We left the South, classified as Negroes racially, and came to the North as Negroes racially. So it didn't. There was no. That's not reclassification. That's just
no.
I mean, you know. So that kind of got fleshed out, and I was glad that happened as well.
And that's why I wanted to bring up the 1655 Act. And he tried to dance around that, talk about no, that was one region of the country. When you look at how the colonies using the system of jurisprudence from England, they were using what we call sister law and comparative laws today. So usually states like Virginia would set laws that other colonies would start adopting, right?
Right.
And we also see that in once these states become the first states of the Union, we start seeing the same thing. And I wanted to pull that up. 1655, colonial legislators, these colonial legislators, not just Virginia, colonial legislators created a distinction between Native Americans and Africans in this statute. They knew the difference. They knew. Now, in the next one, right? Let me pull this up before we get off here. I'm gonna get off here soon. I don't know. Usually I'll be the first one ready to get off here. for whatever reason, I'm ready to just keep going, right? So this one is from 1657 to 1658. Act, I believe that says 44 in the Roman numerals. What persons are tithable? This statute passed during the Commonwealth period. Noted that all imported African women and female Native American. Hold on. Let me go back. Because Ali, this is 1657, bro. Let me read. Noted that all imported African women.
But a lot of people were saying that there was no African women imported. That they was just mixing with Indian women.
That's right. But notice what it says next. All imported African women and female Native Americans were tithable unless they were Christians, born in the colony or free when their parents imported them into Virginia. Now, we could read the provisions, right? Because this is a deep, but I just really wanted to focus on that. Why would? Because they also start using the term Negro in these laws as well, right? Matter of fact, let's read. Be it enacted for the prevention of the great abuse used by presenting of imperfect lists, that all male servants hereafter imported into this colony, of what age soever they be, shall be brought into the lists and shall be liable to pay country levies. And all Negroes imported, whether male or female, and Indian servants, male or female, however procured, being 16. I could stop right there. I'm going to just stop right there. See, the law is saying Negro, and the law is making the same distinction that Turtle Gang was making between Negroes and Indians that he said he wasn't making. He's a liar, dude. No more of this stuff.
Well, he definitely makes the distinction in the tweet. I mean, not the tweet, the Instagram. Oh, yeah,
that's right.
Because he was saying he made it a us and them type of thing where he was like, we as the nations of Indians versus y'all, Negroes, blacks, colored folks. I'm not saying he don't consider himself a black Indian, but I'm just saying he definitely make a distinction, even if it was just simply a distinction between black Indians and American freedmen. Definitely made a distinction. It's inside of the language. It's like the language was riddled with that, which is why I was like, man, this is disrespectful, because obviously and he said that he was being what did he say? Satirical. When he was doing that, but see, I don't know that, and I'm just seeing it, and I'm like, damn, like
Cap.
you really shooting at, you know what I'm saying? You shooting at the freedmen families as if our claim for justice ain't a legitimate claim.
It was Cap, bro. He wasn't being satirical. He was being real, and he didn't expect to be challenged in the way that he did when you challenged him. Then you jumped on his live and started cooking him. Then he came here and got cooked. That's why he wanted to give a history lesson. That's what Top Caps did when he first came on. He tried to give a history lesson on some stuff we wasn't even talking about. Then he lied. And then people went and followed this clown. They went and followed this clown. He said the Tamiqua, as he called them, the Timakua, that's the proper pronunciation, that he called the Tamiqua, were basically conquered by the Spanish. But we pulled up the information that showed that these were French people that the Timakua came in contact with.
And even further, him saying that he was one of them, and then when we pulled out the information about the fact that those particular people are extinct, they basically killed those people off. They don't even exist anymore. He's showing them that. He found a new tribe. That's when he became Kushada. that Alabama Kushada. He went from Florida to Alabama, and so now he was them. I'm like, all right, Nick, all right, man, whatever.
Oh man, you know, I was gonna try to find my tweet, that I posted. I'm not gonna do it. And that's why I post. Huh?
No, I was gonna say the Timakur or whatever you say, they went extinct, man. Them people don't even exist anymore.
Yeah, that dude you're talking about, brother Derek, that 1828 clown. I'll just block him.
God.
He's another idiot. And I want to let me pull this up. Then we're gonna get off of here. But it was why I pulled it up. It was when he said I could describe myself as copper colored. This is notice what that caption reads. 1828 Webster's Dictionary entries for American Negro or more. Family, y'all can pull this up online yourself. Pull up the 1828 Webster's Dictionary. It's right online. So what pretendians do, and we've been dealing with this in the Moorish circles for the past, 12 years, telling these people, y'all not reading this stuff. You're not the copper-colored people. Yafa Bay, putting a dirty penny on the back of your hand. When you show the copper, the color copper, it doesn't match your skin tone. Let me read this. American, noun, a native of America, originally applied to the aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. The name American must always exalt the pride of patriotism. Washington. It was a quote that Noah Webster uses in his dictionary in 1828. But what they do not ever show is the entry for Negro. Negro. Now, it is remarkable that our common people retain the exact Latin pronunciation of this word, nigger, which is the Latin word for black. It's the Latin word for black, you black Americans, that these Europeans gave us to demean us. Not because, remember the La Farmer clown from Canada some months back? I pressed him, and I was like, he was saying that we was Negroes when we came over. I asked him, what was the name of Africa before it was called Africa? And this clown said Negro land. He said, we brought all of this stuff over here with us. This is what he said, family. This is what we're dealing with. He said, and this is how you get the Negro leagues, Negro spirituals, because we brought that with us from Africa. This name that these Christian devils called Africa, Negro land, as a derogatory term.
Yeah.
These are the people that smart. They're smart tarded.
The smart tards. I asked him the same thing on Twitter once. He was going, and I had said to him, "What is the origin of the word Negro? What's the origin of it?" Say, and like we have to get into that before you can start talking about the indigenous nature of it. What's the origin of it? What language family does the word come out of? He didn't want to answer. He didn't want to answer that. I said, well, until the truth is, until you can tell me what language family this word originates from, there's nothing really for us to talk about. Like you can say whatever you want, but the history of the word tells you something very specific about it and where it comes from. You got to be able to deal with that. Otherwise, what's the point?
That's right. That's right. This was actually the argument he made about Plecker. It set precedent. All right, fam, man. We're going to get up on it. We've been on here for a long time. I just got to the point where I just kind of wanted to talk and reinforce this obstructionist attitude. And it wouldn't have never got here if those clowns wasn't attacking Sister Camilla and the work that she's doing and trying to force fit their bullshit into our justice claim what California is doing is setting a blueprint for our larger federal justice claim. You know, that was unnecessary. It was uncalled for. They tried it before. Chris Larson was in the space with them trying to explain to them. And when I went in that space and he was talking to them Secure the Tribe dudes, they act like they didn't understand. No, I don't even want to say they act like they didn't understand. They didn't understand. And it reminded me of that scene in I Am Legend. With the last before it ends, it's not the exact last scene. And he has like the grenade in his hand, and he doesn't want to, you know, he's trying to reason with these zombies who they don't care about. They're
trying to bust through the door.
They're trying to bust through the door. They want to eat this dude and kill him because the one thing they realize is that he's smart enough to change them back into what they are. Oh, this is such an apt analogy, Ali. Oh, this is such an apt analogy. He's telling them, I can save you. I can save you. No, you can't save them. You can't. That's why they kept coming, because they cannot reason. The zombies could not reason. And that's what we're dealing with, man. We're dealing with smart-tarded zombies.
Who are beyond reason.
That's right. Throw the grenade out the door soon as they breach. And go in the little thing, because that's what how the alternate scene ends. He finds a way to blow the whole thing up, and the Spanish chick and the son drive off into the colony. Y'all can look that up. That's the way it should have ended. Just blow them up. And that's what I'm doing right now. Once they bust through the door, clink, clink, throw out a bunch of grenades. Now we're going to close ourselves in and let all of them blow up. Point blank, period. They need to be got up out the way.
Yeah.
Straight like that.
Pseudo mumbo jumbo.
That's right. That's right. So
yeah.
That's right. That's right. Somebody sent me a message that says you were one of the fam. You right, that bullshit Dawn did with them plum fools motivated Yaya and they asses to come up here.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Bad business, man. Too many shit starters in this cipher.
That's why them type of people always go run with the people that's beefing with us. You ever notice that, bro?
Yeah.
Like, oh, who's beefing with Naheem and BTP? Oh, let me run over there. First, let me listen to this episode of BTP and scour their pages for all the information and then go repackage it like I did the research myself. And then let me go hope that these guys finally defeat BTP. Then they send me messages like 2-3 months later because they know I ain't rocking with them because they know I see them over there. They know. Cornball stuff. But anyway, man, let's get up off of here. Let's get up off here finally. You got anything you want to end with, bro?
No, peace to the family. Everybody who was in attendance, who is in attendance, I appreciate you for checking in and lending your support and lending your energy, which is so important, you know, as we're doing what we're doing. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Peace to the American freedmen families.
You know, I had to throw click clack. I'm on one. I'm just on one. So I'll leave y'all with the countdown. I mean, the countdown. I'll leave y'all. I'll just read countdown. Leave y'all with the motto of the platform, which is don't just fight the power, become the power. And then and only then will you have the power to make a change. And with that, I say peace.